The new Boost Mobile network is offering unlimited talk, text, and data for just $25 a month for life.
That sounds like a threat.
Then how do you think we should say it?
Unlimited talk, text, and data for just $25 a month for the rest of your life?
I don't know.
Until your ultimate demise.
What if we just say forever?
Okay.
$25 a month, forever.
Get unlimited talk, text, and data for just $25 a month with Boost Mobile forever.
After 30 gigabytes, customers may experience slower speeds. Customers will pay $25 a month as long as they remain active on the Boost Unlimited plan.
Hey, I'm Ryan Reynolds. At Mint Mobile, we like to do the opposite of what Big Wireless does. They charge you a lot, we charge you a little. So naturally, when they announced they'd be raising their prices due to inflation, we decided to deflate our prices due to not hating you. That's right. We're cutting the price of Mint Unlimited from $30 a month to just $15 a month. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.
Hello and welcome to this. It is the EggChasers Rugby Podcast, the podcast about rugby that doesn't take itself or the game too seriously. I'm JB, here in the Rugby Dungeon, the dungeon that is all about rugby, with Phil. Hello, Phil.
Hello, JB. Very nice to be here.
Yep, indeed it is. And Phil. And Tim.
Hello, JB. Hello, Phil.
Hello, mate.
Nice. I've noticed the last couple of weeks, Phil, you're upping your shoe game on the podcast.
Well,
it's because I've got these jeans. We're immediately going off topic about these jeans. So these are raw denim jeans.
Oh, no, you need like a qualification to have those.
You do, but basically the qualification is you have to wear jeans all of the time.
All of the time.
Every day, all day, every day.
Somebody tried to sell me some of these jeans, and I was like, oh, I'm into it, because people can sell things to me quite easily. And I was like, but then the more I thought about it, I was like, no, this is perverse. What do you mean it wears to my shape? And this guy's showing off like one of my knees is worn, and the other one isn't. I was like, is that a feature? Do I want that?
He's been doing lots of proposals. What I'm imagining is Phil coming in and... Yeah, Phil coming in to his house and seeing just at the other end of the house his wife just hitting go on the washing machine.
No! Yeah, because you're not allowed to wash them, are you?
You're not allowed to wash, not meant to wash them. Ever? Because I actually got these wet and put just like a white cloth that we had in the kitchen to dab the water off, and it came up bright blue, the cloth. So the stain, the ink, whatever it is, the colouring has not been locked in by a washing or stone wash or any process like that. They are raw denim, which apparently means if I wear them all the time, every time, for a long time, they will eventually look really, really good.
Who the hell sold you those? Klaus Schwab? You have one pair and you never need to wash them.
You will have one pair of jeans and you will be happy.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm wearing, because they certainly... As they look at the moment, they don't really go with trainers, so I have to wear boots a lot. They do look good with boots. Apparently, a sign of one of the signs of middle age is wearing jeans with turn-ups and boots. Apparently, which I do a lot now.
So I wear suits.
We've gone right off piece. We will be talking rugby very shortly.
I wear
Please bear
suits,
with us.
and I love wearing suits. I've worn more t-shirts recently, but I love wearing suits. Nobody wears suits now. I love wearing this. One of the best parts of my job is I get to wear a suit. It's become increasingly rare. Like you go to any networking or any sort of formal thing, even like people who work for big investment houses are wearing quarter zips. I hate quarter zips with a passion.
Not the biggest fan of quarter zips.
No, or body warmers.
Body warmers, they're big, aren't they?
Ugh.
Yeah. Quarter zip and a body warmer.
Yeah, classic look.
Oh, that is a classic.
Finance Pro.
It is very much. I'm not far off a body warmer with this. I've got the sleeves.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you've not been doing, ETF trading, have you? You've actually, you've been at a rugby ground.
Fair. Right, yeah, this is a rugby podcast. It's the EggChasers podcast, as JB said, and we are the OGs of podcasting, despite what others try and claim. We, unlike others, are there for you 52 weeks of the year, well into our 12th season now. If you appreciate the fact we're there for you every single Monday morning, you can show that appreciation by hitting subscribe, by going to patreon.com/EggChasers for more content. And the reaction to the last Patreon pod...
I'm not on the email, so please.
Really... In fact, maybe I can get... Yeah, well, contact eggchasers@gmail.com is the email address. But
I have to say, I particularly enjoyed the last one.
I was
chuckling for a couple of days on some of the things that
those individuals that we were discussing had put in their formal legal statement is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, it's one of the great rugby documents.
It really is. That is worth £3 of anyone's money to go and listen to that on Patreon.
We were even contacted by former Canadian internationals.
No, we were not.
We were to share information.
Am I allowed to guess which ones? Or
go for it and guess.
Jeb Sinclair.
No comment.
Okay.
But it's very interesting. So you get extra stuff and stuff that we quite often just think, well, we don't want to put that out. Well, we'll just test the water with that one here first to our closest and dearest and most trustworthy. So patreon.com/EggChasers. Contact eggchasers@gmail.com on the email.
Do you notice that Justin Trudeau resigned the day after our podcast?
The day after our podcast, yeah.
Coincidence?
I don't think so. I do not think so.
Agreed.
Doing the whole nation of Canada a great service with that podcast.
Round 3 Champions Cup is in the can. The playoff spots are starting to take shape, and the meaningfulness or not of the games next weekend are pretty much locked in, so we'll cover that off. England announced their Six Nations squad on Tuesday.
Did they?
No, they do.
No, they do.
Oh, they do, right.
On Tuesday. Other teams, I'm assuming, will name theirs this week or fairly soon.
Yeah, it's going to have to be.
There's some stuff going on at the RFU that I think we need to touch on. Votes of no confidence and such. The Bill Sweeney saga continues. Anything else going on this week?
There's a few bits and pieces. I mean, can I lead off with this? Didsbury have got a bit of an issue. So every year, our clubhouse floods. It's just one of those things, and every year, an army of volunteers goes down and cleans it up, which hopefully I'll be up to tomorrow. Now, this time it seems a little bit different, because one of our external walls has fallen down. Which, is that serious, fella? I'm not in the building trade. Is that?
No.
It is normally a problem for a clubhouse, particularly if, say, it's one of the walls for the changing rooms.
Yes, it's exactly what it was. Yeah, it was a wall for a changing room.
Yes, that is a problem.
Yeah.
It's not my lack of empathy for this one and the fact that Didsbury Toc H are the local rivals to Broughton Park. Rafi Quirk's Broughton Park. But I have my brow furrowed waiting for what's coming next. Go on.
So, we obviously have a GoFundMe. So we are trying to raise...
How do you feel about that?
I think I'm okay.
Yeah.
I think I'm okay with it.
Because you built your clubhouse on a flood,
yes,
on a floodplain.
So the clubhouse is designed to flood, right?
Okay.
But something has, in the flood, because it is so unusually large, something has floated into the side of the building. So actually, the flooding itself, fine.
Oh my God! What floated into a building?
Well, it could be a tree trunk. Could be like a car.
Wow! And the force of
it's just knocked a massive hole in this in the side.
Wow.
So we're not insured for water damage, which is fine because we know how to deal with that.
Yeah.
But because of the slightly unusual nature, it's like rewiring. So it's going to cost about 70 to 100k in total. Now the GoFundMe is out there, so go and have a look at that. The ECB, fair play, have stepped up because it's not just a rugby club, cricket club, football club, all the rest of it. So ECB have stepped up and helped us. Fair play. FA stepped up and helped us. It sounds like. And
the RFU, presumably.
Well, Sport England have as well. So I just want to say.
And the RFU?
Not so much. No, they're not. Okay. They're not particularly interested.
Didsbury Toc H Rugby Club.
Yeah. So all the other associations that we share the ground with, well done. RFU, not so much, and we'll talk a little bit more about them later.
It's disappointing, but not surprising.
Yeah, they're also charging another local rugby club who have suffered, I think, with the weather for using one of their 4G pitches. So instead of saying like, "Come on down, let's facilitate this," like, yeah, we'll just charge you. So yeah, things are great over in rugby. As for Didsbury Toc H, all help is of course appreciated, but the most important thing is we will get that club up and running, and we'll be there tomorrow with all the other volunteers from the cricket club, the football club, and every other club, and we'll be hosing things down, throwing things in skips, and it'll be up and running before you know it, because that's what good clubs do.
I'm guessing there wasn't a lot of grassroots rugby going on this weekend.
In National 1, there was 2 games played, one of which was Rosslyn Park, Blackheath, so not a million miles away from each other, and both London clubs.
I'm assuming artificial pitch.
Roslyn Park? Don't know.
I think so.
I'm just assuming how the game went ahead with. It must have been artificial.
I don't know how bad it was in London.
Who knows?
But every other game was postponed apart from Sedgley, who travelled to Dings Crusaders. So Bristol. And lost, sadly. Lost quite badly as well.
Did they?
Else, yeah, 35-3.
Things are doing well, aren't they?
Yeah.
Particularly from where they came from.
That's payback for the time, as we've mentioned many times on the podcast, when on a frosty weekend, when Sedgley Park and Phil may or may not have been in the first team that weekend, but the allegedly the key man tight head prop was injured, and then the groundsman may have accidentally left the hose pipe
On a freezing night.
On a freezing night,
There's nothing you can do, is there?
churning water out into the dead ball area.
May or may not have happened against Red Ruth, who have one of the longest journeys in the league to travel up. No comment on that one.
No comment. So yeah, well, that's kind of. I just looked, and no games in Regional 2 Thames, which we've been keeping an eye on. So,
Yeah.
Oh, I think Aylesbury played and lost.
oh, did they? Oh,
They lost to
Marlow didn't play. That's all I checked.
to London Irish.
London Scottish Lions or London Irish Wild Geese.
London Irish Wild Geese.
I want to know what's the origin of Wild Geese. That name. Do you know one rugby fact I only found out today? Why is a number 8 called a number 8?
Great question. Why is it?
Do you know? Would you posit a yes?
He wears 8 on his back.
That is the reason. He wears 8 on his back. But the number 8 did have... Because every other name on a rugby pitch is descriptive.
Yeah,
some way.
Lock wears 4 or 5, so...
Yeah. Wing forward, even if you go for the first 5-8, second, even if you go down that route, there's kind of descriptive names.
You'd have loose forward, I guess, but that's a rugby league thing.
That's a rugby league thing, yeah. But no, it was. Originally, the number 8 was called the lock.
Okay.
Because he would lock the second rows in place.
So what happened?
The second row started being called the lock, and then they couldn't call the number 8 the lock as well, and they just went, they wear number 8.
What could we... Here's a competition. What should we call it?
Well,
what should we
what's a
call it?
descriptor? So, like...
The juggernaut.
The prop.
Juggernaut's not a bad one. Well, okay, flanker. Sounds like a military term, doesn't it? Like flanking.
And flanker, like, it is quite descriptive. Centres is quite descriptive.
Yep.
Wing is quite descriptive. The props and the hooker, they're all quite descriptive. The fullback, self-explanatory.
Yep.
Number 8.
Fly half is not self-explanatory at all.
Well, in French, the names are interesting as well, because they call the props pillars.
No, but that does make sense.
And the hooker.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying it doesn't make sense.
Prop and a
I'm
prop
saying
and a
it's interesting.
pillar is...
And they called the hooker the talonnaire,
Ooh, that's nice.
which sounds cool.
I don't know what it means, but it's nice. What does it mean?
I don't know.
Probably means little man or something.
And I don't know
the fat round one.
I don't know if they have a name for number 8 as well. I think because it's just deuxième and troisième ligne. But I don't know whether they have names.
I think we should run a competition to name the number 8. I mean, it's an open space. It's like the...
Something descriptive.
The flankers, I don't know.
They're quite often the best player on the pitch because they have to have
They are.
the ball skills, ball carrying,
I think it's
athleticism.
Yeah, they're the combination of size, athleticism, and...
It's a proper prestige position.
Yeah.
That's... obviously, fly half is 1. 8.
8, 9, 10, basically.
Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say so. If your 8's brilliant, you've always got a chance.
Yeah. No good World Cup winning teams not had a really good 8.
Oh, we should look at the World Cup winning teams and rank the 8s. But yeah, we should run this competition, and then we should only refer to 8s as whatever it comes out as.
Yeah.
The Vanguard or whatever we...
that's a good name.
Yeah, whatever we end up calling them.
Vanguard is not bad.
It's not bad.
Yeah, it sounds cool as well.
Yeah.
What position do you play? Vanguard?
Contact EggChasers@gmail.com. What would be a descriptive name for a number 8 that we could adopt?
Yeah, it's kind of like the fourth plinth in Trafalgar Square.
I don't know.
They've got like 4 plinths. Or
is that the one where they put the modern art on?
Yeah, and they just throw up people who are just not particularly important. Well, anyway, whatever. So, European Cup.
Yes.
Let's go back to that.
Champions Cup round 3 done.
So, not a great weekend for the English teams.
No, it wasn't, was it?
It wasn't.
Bath finished it strongly, but yeah, other than that.
Bristol are the only team.
Oh, Bristol and Bath.
Yeah, so Bristol are the only Premiership team to win. who have a scalable logo. All other scalable logo teams lost, with Leicester Tigers and Bath winning.
Leicester won as well, yeah.
They did, but Leicester were playing with their retro.
With their
logo.
retro,
Correct.
with their retro
a non-scalable logo, and they won.
That kit's pretty cool.
That kit, I love it when you're close up to it.
Yeah.
I hate watching Leicester playing it because I'm like, is that Doncaster playing? I don't know who I'm. What is that? Bristol?
But that's a classic Leicester look. That navy blue.
Is it?
Yeah, I used to have the navy blue Leicester shirt. Navy blue, red and green, I think it is.
Yeah, you've got the red and green and white, like single hoop of each.
Very, very
across
nice.
the middle, and then it's a deep blue. But I think it's a lovely shirt up close. I just don't like watching them.
Yeah, I completely agree.
So yeah, well, I was going to look. Northampton losing away at Stade Francais
Was not
narrowly
really expected, I don't think.
Well, I predicted that, but
Yeah, but you look at the score at half time and Northampton were flying.
no, I agree. They were flying. They were 21-0 up, but it's not a complete surprise. Exeter losing to Bordeaux, fine.
That was entirely predictable.
Saracens losing narrowly away at Munster, predictable.
But again,
I don't think that one was predictable.
I predicted that as well.
But those two are disappointing. The Northampton and the Saracens, because they were both
ahead.
They were both ahead. They're both in winnable positions. They should have closed out those games. And I dare to say, were we 3 years ago, maybe 2 years ago for Saints, and 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10 years ago for Saracens, and they would have closed out every single year.
Yeah. Oh, no question.
Yeah, it just has not taken me this year's Champions Cup. I'm not going to go over what we said before. The group stages need to be completely reformed. I don't really know who's winning and who's not. It looks like almost every English team, except for maybe Bristol, will go through. And Sale perhaps might not.
Even Sale could.
Sale could, may not.
Could.
Harlequins probably, well, they play home to Glasgow, so Quins may not.
Yeah.
But you don't know, do you? Because you don't know what Glasgow are going to do.
Well, Glasgow are going to try and go for the best seeding they can because so they're going to take a
Glasgow will want to win that.
Yeah, Glasgow will go to win.
So Glasgow are definitely in the top two, but they're not guaranteed a home.
Yeah, let me just I'll summarize.
No, they will be.
I'll summarise the pools. Let's summarise the pools.
Glasgow are but guaranteed.
Pool 1.
Yep.
Bordeaux and Toulouse have qualified, but have not yet guaranteed top 2 or top 1. Although they will both very likely win next week to seal that. So it's all but done. With Leicester Tigers, they'll probably send a weakened team away to Toulouse and just accept the third place that they've guaranteed. And then, really, Sharks have wrapped up fourth because Ulster and Exeter are playing a playoff to get into the Challenge Cup. Their points difference is too low, then neither of them are going to get fourth. So
I mean, considering some of the names in that pool, what a terrible last weekend. What a terrible, terrible last weekend.
The last weekend is terrible because, Sharks are going to send bin juice to Bordeaux. Leicester will probably send bin juice to Toulouse. And Exeter and Ulster are playing for a Challenge Cup. It
is an interesting dilemma for Leicester because if they were to win, they can get a home
in Toulouse.
But it's winning away in Toulouse. So if they were playing, let's look at some of the top teams in the other pools. Leicester, La Rochelle, no. If they were playing Northampton or Munster, they would send a full strength team.
Yeah.
If they were playing Toulon or Glasgow, they would send a full strength team. But do they just accept their fate?
Yeah.
It's a weird psychology to do that, though. Because if you want to win the whole thing, you've got to back yourself to beat
don't bother
everyone.
Going.
Yeah, like why are you bothering at all if you send the bin juice?
But I think the way that this competition is structured, it almost has it almost gives you permission to not take the group stages
100%.
Yeah,
and that's what's bad about it.
That is what's bad about it.
There's no shame about it because everyone does it from week one.
So the solution to that. It has, and we've discussed this before. I think this has to be done because everyone's figured it out now. That you basically win your home games. You only need to show up for half your games, and you don't even need to win all of those. You get a few losing bonus points. You are fine. You're through to the next round.
I think knockout.
So the correction to this, in my mind, is you cannot have the round of 16. As much as the round of 16 previously has been good, it just means too many teams go through, and also you can't have 24 teams. No. That's got to be reduced to say 16
teams and straight to a quarter final.
And you go 16 teams. You go straight to
each.
Quarter final.
Pools of 4.
Yep.
And you play.
That does mean some inter-country games happening, but that just
not the end of the world.
Yeah,
or
it's not the end of the world.
Straight knockout.
The problem with straight knockout. So I'd love to see it but it doesn't generate the revenue. You need the extra.
Nothing
games.
generates revenue anymore. So we're in a situation where it probably costs you money to play Challenge Cup, so we play less of it.
Well, no, because one of the things, these home games are worth somewhere between £250,000 and £500,000 to these teams, and that was from was it Warriors Gloucester, where there was a cancelled game a few years ago.
Yeah.
But it's like you've got teams. So Exeter Chiefs, their reports and accounts came out last week or the week before. They lost £400,000 last year. If they got one extra home game, they break even. 2 extra home games, they make money. So it's the games do matter. You can't just play one game.
4 pools of 4, 16 teams makes the Challenge Cup quality better, makes the Champions Cup quality better, makes every game massive,
more meaningful.
Yes, it does mean you have some same country matchups. That's an inevitability. But then look at Pool 1 that we've just been talking about. Toulouse are going to probably end on, more than likely end the pool stage with 4 wins on 19 points, and they will have a lower seeding than La Rochelle or Bath, whoever gets that spot. They'll have more points
than either Northampton Saints or
Northampton,
Munster.
Saracens or Munster, whoever comes through and wins that pool. So there is no silver bullet, and I think this season just proves it. So you have to have a compromise. The compromise to me would be there will be the odd game that is an inter-country match. But in the case of Bordeaux-Toulouse, you're looking at that and you're going, Toulouse are only missed out on the top seed behind Bordeaux because they had to travel away to Durban and Bordeaux didn't.
They played... did they play the Sharks at home?
Yeah, they play the Sharks at home next week.
So
it's kind of... It just doesn't seem... So, for all the reasons you've said, and it would make the Challenge Cup more engaging.
And also stop the farce of the Premiership having so many teams go in, and you're looking at the Premiership qualification for Europe, and it's easy.
Yeah, just don't finish in the bottom 2.
Yeah.
So just a quick... very quickly, so Leinster are pretty much home and hosed in Pool 2. Their final game is at home against... Have they played Bath yet?
It is at home against Bath.
It's home against Bath.
Yeah.
So Bath have to win that one to get top 2 and to make sure they get 3rd or 4th. Yep. So Bath will be going... There's a good game. Bath will be going full bore to Leinster.
But the disappointment for Bath is, had they have won either of their first 2 games against La Rochelle, which admittedly was harder, but away at Benetton, that was a winnable game.
Yeah.
They would have been fighting for one of those top 2 spots.
La Rochelle will go to Benetton knowing they could finish 2nd to 5th.
Yes. That is a more competitive pool.
That is a more competitive pool. Pool 3, Northampton are currently top, but only by a point from Munster and Saracens. By a point from Munster and Saracens. I would suggest Saracens are best placed to finish top because who do Northampton?
Saracens host Cast.
Saracens host Cast.
Northampton host Munster.
Yeah. Ooh.
So you got the top 4 all playing each other.
Top 4 playing each other. That's good.
And then Stade Francais and the Bulls playing each other. Although Stade Francais, after their good performance this weekend, terrible performances the first 2 weeks, they've got a shout of qualifying, but they need Cast to lose.
And just to make it more interesting, points difference, Northampton plus 29, Munster plus 29, Saracens plus 28. So that's quite interesting, that pool. Pool 4, Toulon and Glasgow are going to finish 1st and 2nd. Toulon are away to Sale.
Yes.
Sale away. They've got the Enya fixture. You're going to go and watch Toulon? Go and watch
saying
Salford?
I might do. Isn't Saran in Clermont now?
No, Toulon.
Comms in the Clermont game must have been talking about him then.
They were talking about the fact that Baptiste Jeannot is like a 21-year-old superstar in the making.
And
he's about 6th choice.
Yeah, they said they've got quality 9s everywhere.
Yeah.
If he's lucky, he's sixth choice at the moment.
There's some decent fixtures next weekend. It's all right. Pool 1's a bit of a joke, but the other.
I mean, there are decent fixtures. There are, just in terms of names, but just the competition needs a little bit of a rethink because this should be the premier rugby competition, possibly in the world for clubs.
Well, if you watched La Rochelle v Leinster, you would have thought, all right, this is. Yeah. I see what the fuss is about with this competition.
Yes,
that was ace.
That was the real deal. It was a great finish as well. Partly it was a great finish because you had a load of missed kicks. You had 2 from Hastoy hitting the post, and you had Ross Byrne missing his kick, but that just added to the drama.
But it is also...
And the charge down drop goal.
What we need for that rivalry, which is the idea that Leinster should and can beat La Rochelle, except for when it matters. When they fail. I'd love to see that to be the final. I'd love that to be the final.
I tell you what, I've seen La Rochelle play. I saw them play against Bath. I saw them play last week against Toulouse, third team, and I watched all of this game. La Rochelle are not getting to the final of Europe this year.
They're not good enough, are they?
They're
not the team they were a few years ago. I completely...
You see when Wardy and Uini both go off, they really struggled. And they got no Will Skelton there as well. They just struggled to get over the gain line. And they made it was made interesting because I don't think Leinster played particularly well in that game either. So it was close, but they'll get blown away by some of the other teams, particularly Bordeaux.
Yeah, because they're not dynamic in the way that they play. They are very aggressive getting over the game line, but in my opinion at least, they've relied last couple of years on just abnormally large humans, which is fine. But when the abnormally large humans disappear, you tend to get a bit of a problem. Or
get to 35, 36 as Uini Antonio is. So he's still around. He's maybe not the player he was 3 years ago. And when he goes, like, he was filled by an almost equally large man in George Henry Colombe,
who was enormous, but doesn't strike me as he's all there. No, I mean mentally, of course.
There's a little clip for podcast fans to take out of context.
Yeah, like
he was so static. His carrying was so... He got one lovely offload late on, but his carrying was so static.
Oh, that offload was ridiculous.
It was great.
That did not make up for the softest of pens he gave away by ripping off Caelan Doris's scrum cap, which Ian Tempest said started the whole altercation. I saw it was the very last thing that happened in the altercation, but it was still stupid.
Yeah, it's one of those things you can't really get away with. Because it's obvious, isn't it? You've got someone's scrum cap in your hand.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Caught red-handed.
Just on referees, I'm going to move this to a different game. Ben Whitehouse in the...
I tend to sigh whenever I hear that name.
Yeah. Yes.
What game was it?
The Bordeaux game, right?
Oh, yeah, Bordeaux, Exeter.
If he has this right, and I believe he probably does have it right, fair play to him. I love when referees know the law to the nth degree. I love it. And you think, that's wrong. No, he might be right here. If he is right, the law needs to be changed. And that is the kick of the ball by BRB...
Wait till you put your microphone in.
Pierre Beret, right?
Yeah.
To score the try when Pierre Beret's foot was in touch.
Oh, when he said your foot is on the line, but you kicked it in.
Yeah, so his foot was on the line, but he kicked the ball. But the ball was never over the line, right? And he says, this is going to sound ridiculous, but that means the ball is in.
The ball has not crossed the plane of touch.
But if the ball is rolling back, say, to the wherever it's... You can stand in touch, and by touching the ball, it is in touch.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why this is called like that.
Yeah.
But I tend to think he's right, because he said... This sounds ridiculous. That is the sound of a man that knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
That knows it's...
He
may as well have just said, I know this is one of the laws that when we eventually give Phil the law book, he will change.
He will either rewrite the law or rewrite the application of the law.
At least it's a law that's being implemented. Fair play.
Yeah. I see. I don't know that. I'd never heard that before.
I hadn't.
Well, if you think about it...
Maybe raise my eyebrows.
Outside the field of play and tap it back in, but your feet are off the ground, right?
Yeah, your feet have to be off the ground, and you have to land into the field of play.
So you can start out. I just don't get how he can. No,
and there's obviously the other one where you can.
If let's say you've got hold of the ball, you're tackled in like near the 5 metre line, near the try line, and just your laces of it. So the ball is 2 metres away from the try line, maybe 1.7 metres if it's me carrying the ball, and your laces brush the.
Yes, you're out, aren't you?
You're out. Even if the ball is 1.5, 2 metres away from the try line, the ball is out. So I really
it's a
don't
peculiar
get that.
one where if you're in possession or not in possession, it must be treated differently. But you'd think logically it should be treated the same.
If you're touching the ball and any part of you is on the whitewash, it's out.
There is that unusual situation where you can score a try by being in touch in goal. If the ball is on the field, but you are outside of the touchline and beyond the try line, you can be stood off the pitch.
Feet on the ground.
Yeah, so you can be stood. So if you so you're in touch where the touch judge would be, running along the side of the pitch.
Yeah.
And you can be beyond the try line, so you're in the in-goal area, but off the pitch.
Yeah.
The ball is there. If you stand outside of the pitch and touch it...
Has Christian Wade done this?
It's a try. Yeah, it's happened.
Yeah, Christian Wade did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nonsense, isn't it? It's clearly nonsense. Why are you talking about this?
Yeah, that is just stupid. That should not be a thing.
Yeah, have you found out the law, which we're going to get?
No, I'm looking at the World Rugby by the laws by number. I don't even know which section this is going to be in.
No, I don't know either.
It's NFL playoffs, and I was just thinking as you were saying it, NFL have got.
Do you want me to ask a referee now?
No, no.
I was text referee.
We've just done it. Okay, fine, fine.
I'll try and
Just
dig into it.
while you're talking referee decisions, did you see the end of Bristol Benetton?
No, I've just seen the highlights, and so someone emailed us about this. I've watched the highlights, but the highlights didn't show it because I was watching. That was concurrent with Leinster.
Yeah, Leinster, La Rochelle. So I didn't see it live, but I've watched.
Okay, you went back.
I've watched it since.
So talk to me because this was a surprisingly close game.
Yeah,
and Bristol were 18 points up with 20 minutes to go.
They were well clear. They scored. So second half, Bristol scored 3 tries, and then all of a sudden, Benetton scored 2 tries, and then with 2 minutes left, scored another try, which would have meant that they could have had a conversion to tie the match.
Yeah.
As it is, they lost by 6. No, it would have been a conversion to win the match.
To win the match.
Yeah. A referee gives the try. TMO gets onto the ref, who is Mathieu Orenal, and says, you need to look at the actions of Benetton 12, Tommaso Menoncello, who
his try was ace.
His ace.
He's such a good player.
He's such a good player. So he was running just a hard line, and it's just real simple shape. So he's running the short hard line, fly half Albanors, I think it was, or whether they passed the ball to Albanors.
Yeah.
But they passed it behind Menoncello to the player that's deep outside, and then they get the ball to the outside with another couple of passes, try. And...
Oh, you're not going to say it's crossing because he received the ball prior to going around the back?
Not crossing, it was Revuvu. So Menoncello is running into the hole between the Bristol 10 and the Bristol 12. Menoncello's running into that hole. The ball goes out the back behind him. It looked to me, again, I haven't seen lots of camera angles. What looked like to me, the try was disallowed because they said Menoncello ran into Revuvu, who wouldn't have got there to defend the try anyway, but regardless, they said he ran into him and therefore took out a defender penalty, which the referee took quite a bit of convincing before he eventually went with the TMO, who was insistent that this is the decision. Game one for Bristol. Also, it looked to me like Max Laheath on one of Bristol's tries knocked it on, but there you go. You get the rub of the green. Sometimes goes your way. Sometimes doesn't go your way other times.
Yeah.
Well, before we crack on with the other European Cup games of note, which are few and far between, why don't we talk a little bit about someone who thinks they don't have the rub of the green and what happened this week with the referee? So remember the Mac Hansen thing? Did we play the audio for it, or did we just talk about it?
No, we didn't. We
just talked about it.
It was back on the 22nd of December, pre-Christmas. Connacht playing Leinster in Galway, and Mac Hansen goes to the press conference and says, he said he felt they were refereed off the park, and he said it always happens.
Yeah.
This happens every time. We always get decisions that go against us. It's wrong. Look at how they dealt with this incident, that incident. Every time. Well, it's been happening for years. It really... And he used some choice language. Anyway,
the reason wanted to piss him off or whatever he said, right? So Chris Busby was the ref.
Yeah.
And have I got this right? Has he quit?
He's set to retire from international.
He hasn't confirmed that he has. Don't know whether it's from international. Don't know whether it's
set to retire from officiating.
From officiating, and he's relatively young as referees go.
38.
Yeah.
And
not young, but he's not.
He's already officiated Wales versus South Africa. He's done Scotland versus South Africa at Murrayfield, and I think He was down to be assistant referee in the Six Nations too.
Yeah, 2 games, France, Wales, and France.
We don't know his reasons. He hasn't even confirmed that is happening, and we don't know his reasons if he has.
Yeah. So we don't know the reasons, right?
Yeah.
But I think people are linking it to the Matt Hansen tirade.
Or some people have described that as the tipping point.
And it's these rumours that he's going to retire, which I don't know where the rumours are coming from, because it's not like referees are majorly in the spotlight other than when they're actually refereeing games.
The only time we mention referees, really, is that they've done a pretty good job.
We sometimes mention mistakes, but I think on this podcast, more than most, we highlight
how good they are.
Good refereeing, yeah.
So that'd be the first thing. Now, we also spoke about Matt Hansen, and I actually like listening to Matt Hansen vent his frustration. On the one hand, you can't say you want players to be more relatable, and on the other hand, continually shut them up. Like, what does Matt Hansen think? Well, he thinks those things. Was he abusive to the referee at the game? No, he was not. Could that be construed? No, you can construe it as nothing else other than a guy who's finished the game. He's very frustrated. He's incredibly competitive, and he's just vented his feelings. That is it. That is where this ends, as far as I'm concerned. If you want to have a word with him as the authorities do so, I think the authorities have kind of retrospectively gone back to speak to Matt Hansen. I think he's got a ban. But it doesn't include the Six Nations.
3-game ban, reduced from 6,
yes.
As long as he apologises to Chris Busby, does a course on refereeing, presents what his experience back to his teammates, and does a presentation on how to conduct at a press conference.
Is that a joke?
I'm hoping they're recording these presentations. I would pay good money. That's how rugby can generate more revenue.
So, the first part of that, I guess I'm okay with a ban. 6 weeks is ridiculous. 3, fine, so he doesn't miss the Six Nations. I'm actually okay with him getting sent on a referee course.
Yeah.
The rest of it is nonsense. It's absolute nonsense.
Yeah. So first of all, I'd say invite him to go on the referee. Strongly advise him. Say, look, we want you to go on a referee course so you understand what we're doing. Okay.
And they have because they've said 6-week ban. But it's reduced to 3. Just go on this referee course.
Yeah.
It's like the tackle school.
Although I kind of don't even like that either. He's not a referee. He's a professional rugby player. Go and be a professional rugby player, right? Don't ask the players. I mean, where I draw the line with referees is when people are rude to them in person, when they're aggressive, when they are threatening, because these are big, intimidating men. I mean, one of the values of rugby is you keep it together. But in a press conference, I don't think and he said all the decisions. He didn't say Chris Busby's decision. He didn't say Chris Busby was it's always us. Like, we're a smaller team. We don't get the rub of the green because we're not Leinster, and we don't have every every prestigious private school feed into us. I mean, that's kind of what I was reading into it. It was not a Chris Busby thing. So we kind of need to stop being so precious about that. Do you want to hear from him or not?
Well, okay. I think there are lines.
Yes, like Rasmus Erasmus crossed the line.
There's a clear line not to cross, and a lot of what Matt Hansen said, I don't think there was no issue with it whatsoever. Even him saying, "I felt we got refereed off the park in the first half." That to me is like, well, that's fine. He's talking about how he feels, what his opinion is. When you start to say there is a conspiracy, a bias, an agenda.
This always happens to us.
Then I think you are in muddy waters.
I agree, right? But do we not want to know this? So as a fan, I want to know how they feel. I want an insight into how a lot of things that competitive sportsmen say do not make any sense. I mean, if you listen to the way Michael Jordan used to create chips on his shoulder for no particular reason, like the guy, you looked at me in the wrong way, and now I must destroy him and his family.
What was his phrase? Then it was personal, something like that.
And I took that personally.
Yeah. And that's obviously perverse, but I enjoy knowing about it. But simultaneously, if Matt Hansen's saying things like, well, it's a conspiracy, I also want to know that too, because that's a flaw in Matt Hansen's character. Or maybe it's just him motivating himself. Or maybe it's like Alex Ferguson when he'd, pull up the drawbridge because everybody hates this type of thing. And I don't mind that, right? But I would, if he came out and said, Chris Busby is this, and this, and this, and he's incompetent, and he shouldn't have done that. And he
kind of did. He kind of did.
It's a fine line. Don't get me wrong. It's a fine line. But I want to know what they think.
When you say it happens every time, it's we never get the decisions. It's clearly favouring the bigger teams. Like, for example, in this match, this happened, and this didn't happen.
He's not quite gone full Razzie.
No, he hasn't. But he's left himself open. He's left himself wide open.
Yeah.
So I don't have a major issue. With the ban, and I really like Matt Hansen as a bloke. He's like an interesting character.
He is. And he's the kind of character that you'd like. Exactly to your point before, JB. We do want these kind of characters in rugby, because otherwise you just end up with the bland footballer response that's media trained nothingness. Like, people can talk for 10 minutes and say absolutely zero. We don't want that.
Yeah, well, the absolute derisable David Walsh has been writing.
Your favourite?
He's just awful. He's just, and like the way he handles stories, like he just leaves this air, leaves a bad smell over everything.
He'll be glad for the attention. So
I'm not sure he will, actually, because these guys are very, 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 very precious about their reputations, and he's built his reputation on being some, moralistic fighter for good causes, and he's nothing of the sort. Well, he's a leech.
I just scanned his article, and he did point out that in the game where Leinster got all the decisions, Connacht were ahead on the penalty. Leinster were penalised more and had 2-1 yellow cards.
Yeah, but I hate this sort of stuff. I mean, like, it is true, okay?
I mean, those are some of if you want to take the heat and the emotion out of it, some objective facts like that are quite useful. Just to go, Mac, maybe go back and watch the game again. Make sure that you did everything you could.
But this is just a little
before you before you hit the nuclear button and do what you're about to do.
Yeah, but we want to hear the feelings, don't we? We don't necessarily care about the facts. We want to hear about the feelings from the player.
Well, feelings, yeah.
Yeah. So, like, also, I don't like David Walsh sort of doing that thing. Well, if only you'd have caught the ball, you might have won. Yeah, okay, genius. But we still didn't have the calls that we thought were correct for us. So,
you're a coach. What do you do in this situation?
By the way, we always say this. What could you have done differently? Okay, I just don't like David Walsh doing it in this article, because he then goes on to say, well, who was standing up for Busby? Now, he's making the argument about rugby values. Just out of interest, what are these so-called rugby values? I mean, what do you think the values are for rugby?
There's those posters that are on every...
Let's forget those.
Every clubhouse.
Let's talk about the actual values. Bravery,
sportsmanship,
character, resilience.
I would say, I would say some of the ones that appear on that poster are legit. Honour, and which you could. That's just sportsmanship by another name.
Yeah, I mean, for me, if Chris Busby wants to retire now, I think it's a great idea. I think he should absolutely go. Because if this is too much for him...
We don't know what his reason is.
Yeah.
And he hasn't even confirmed he is.
But if this is the reason, right, as Walsh is saying, because Walsh wants to make a big song and dance about hypocritical rugby values, I would say he doesn't really understand them. I would say, if this is the reason Busby is going, it is a great reason for him to go. Because he clearly... that rant should not have triggered that response. I don't know what else has gone on behind the scenes, but if it's that rant...
Well, we're into speculation here, but
you shouldn't be in the game.
If you want to go down the speculation route, then my speculation would be that there has been a complete vacuum of silence until this week, since it actually happened, and there was no one in any position that even... I mean, who knew that there was even an appeal until a couple of days before it actually happened?
I wouldn't even think so.
Not an appeal, a disciplinary, until a couple of days before it happened.
I wouldn't even think to defend Busby in this situation, because I think anyone who would watch the game as a neutral would probably go, yeah, fine, I think he did all right.
Yeah, he doesn't.
I think he did fine.
Well, hold on.
Get missed.
Well,
things get missed.
I get that, but if a player's given a microphone and steps across a line...
Yeah, but the player also didn't mention Chris Busby, said all the games.
Mate, go and watch the press conference. Go and watch the press conference. If Matt Hansen had said...
He was talking about decisions in that game. If Matt Hansen said,
I'm not talking about this game, I just want to make a more general point.
Yeah.
He was talking...
There was a Geordie Barrett hit on Bundyaki that was not looked at, or if it was looked at, it was deemed not penalty worthy.
And then there was their guy who got a yellow card.
But I mean, that I don't know. Do they have TMOs?
Yeah.
And that's a TMO thing. That's not a Chris Busby thing.
I don't know. This.
He was talking about I get it, but I'm just saying, if you are Chris Busby, and if what Matt Hansen did, whether you agree that the ban is correct or not, let's just assume that everyone agrees he crossed the line and that the 3-game ban was justified. Then I can understand from a referee's point of view, a player's just got a microphone says something which goes all over the place, and Chris Busby is not going to come out there and speak for himself, but there's no one saying, we're looking at this, by the way, we think he may have stepped across the line, we are looking at this.
Yeah.
Nothing like that was said.
I agree, but I think if this is the thing which is pushed him over the edge, I don't think he should be reffing. I don't think it's good for him. I think you need to step away. One of the things you need is resilience, and he doesn't have that resilience. If you think this is bad, good luck when you get a call wrong, or even right, but it goes against the home crowd, or you have something which is really contentious in a big Six Nations match. The game isn't for you. It's not for everyone. Just step away. And there's no shame in that. If you can't handle it, there's no shame in it. But on the other hand, I don't think we should be hunting down players and saying, right, you said these things, and therefore, like Walsh is saying, that there's no values in rugby. Somehow we've crossed the line as a sport. No one's looking after the referees. We've got great referees. But if you're not cut out for it, there's no shame in stepping away. Well,
so this is probably a good time to just loop in another incident, which I think speaks to this on a broader level, because I don't disagree with what you just said, actually, and that resilience is important. But I think what this represents is that things have shifted and changed, and there is a bit of a new landscape that some people may have, when Chris Busby came in starting to be a referee, things are very, very different now than they were when he came in, which is a perfect opportunity to bring in Ollie Lawrence.
Oh no, Ollie, what have you done?
Because things appear from what happened with Ollie Lawrence and what he said since, things appear to be very, very different to the way they've always been.
Yes. I am so disappointed in this. I mean, I'm going to give him a pass.
Can you summarise it?
Well, we did. I can summarise what we said last week, which was there was head contact between Alex Mitchell and Ollie Lawrence. It was clearly accidental head contact. Ollie Lawrence went down holding his head. Alex Mitchell got a yellow card, and we leapt to the defence of Ollie Lawrence, saying, if he's gone down, like, he's a hard boy, he always carries hard. If he's gone down holding his head, he will be hurt. He will be like stunned and have like cut his face or whatever. We defended him. We were wrong to defend him, as it turned out, because the phrase that I really didn't like was, "I'm entitled to go down."
Yeah,
I'm entitled to go down.
I mean, that word "entitled" got used a lot on the Patreon podcast.
Jesus Christ! I metaphorically, for Ollie Lawrence, whipped on a suit of armour, hopped on a steed, and went jousting for him. Like, I was like, "There's no way that guy would fake. There's no way." Like, you look how hard
he carries.
Yeah, exactly. He's not a guy that.
But he didn't cheat. I mean, this is what is interesting with the language, because he said on his TikTok and stuff. And again, we're all for players being open and honest and accessible, but this is like, I don't know.
He has owned it, to be fair.
He has owned it, and he's spoken. But this is just a calibration, because I think this is just what we suspected is where rugby is in reality. But now Ollie Lawrence has said the quiet part out loud. What he said was, I did go down to draw the ref's attention to the fact that I'd been hit. And basically, I didn't need to go down. The force of the hit from Alex Mitchell did not send me to the ground automatically. He went down, and he said it was to draw the referee's attention to it, but he also said, but I didn't cheat.
Wow. So,
as you said, he's entitled to go down, which is a very football phrase.
Yeah, and I think he used, I was within my rights to go. He used something.
My rights.
Very.
He sounded like Lee Dixon in the FA Cup studio.
Yeah, so it really puts a referee in a bind, doesn't it? Because as soon as you hold your head, right, and you know you've been hit in the head, there has to be a review. And the referee's got this curious decision of watching a player stop in open play.
So weird. We talked about this
in a full collision sport.
Yeah.
Just hit him, lads.
Yep.
Just hit him. Like, you can't do that. The referee has to blow up at that point, because if he carries on playing and Ollie Lawrence has slowed down to basically walking pace, imagine if, I don't know, name a big lad in North, Tom Pearson. The whistle's not gone, lines him up and absolutely levels him because he's going at walking pace because the referee hasn't blown up and he's holding his head. But this time, actually, the head contact is real. He's got a problem. The referee is a massive, massive problem. So he's got to blow up. I don't blame the referee in any way.
No, he didn't blow up. It was just checked.
Did he not? Did it? What, the game carried on?
No, he did. He stopped.
Oh, no,
So
right.
he hits
Sorry,
the deck.
sorry, I'm getting
he hits
confused
the
with a
deck.
different
He
incident,
slows down. He hits the deck, and then the ref.
Yeah.
He hits the deck, holding his face. The ref blows up. Actually, I don't think he does need to go down there because we've got so many great examples, great and bad examples. Great examples of the TMO coming back to something that happened 2 minutes beforehand or a minute beforehand and saying, I think you need to look at this. And there was clear foul play, no arms tackle, head contact, whatever it was. And the TMO was correct to highlight it to the ref. We have also got too many examples, and there was one in the Leinster-La Rochelle game right at the end with Caelan Doris, where the TMO says, I think you need to look at this, and shows
goodness.
something.
I need to mention that.
The Caelan, I thought the Georgian referee...
Nick Amashakeli, I like him.
He handled that brilliantly because it was pointing to his attention. There was clear head contact, but Caelan Doris was bent at the waist.
He was bent at the waist, 90 degrees.
Yeah, and it was a dropping tackle. So he said, there is no foul play. There is nothing different could have been done. Play on, not even a penalty.
The issue I had with that is, like, and Matthew Carley's brilliant referee, but in this occasion, he was the TMO, and to send that to the referee, you have to be a little bit more certain. Hold on, stop, because what he stopped was halfway through the 60-second countdown on Antoine Hastoy's penalty to win the game. It was the equivalent of an NFL coach calling a timeout just before the kicker's about to take a clutch kick.
I'm going to make a weird argument here, which isn't instinctive for me, but I'll do it anyway. I think it's the high frequency and almost the low quality of these calls to the referee. Like, you've got to look at this, which is the reason why we so infrequently see players like Ollie Lawrence holding their head.
Yeah. That was the point I was kind of making with that.
Like,
interesting. Because we know it's going to get caught by the TMO, he doesn't need to hold his head.
Yeah.
He is much better to carry on, because he'd already shaken off Alex Mitchell. He's like breaking free. He'd be much better to continue attacking.
All the incentives,
because they can score a try and also get the yellow card.
Now, because football doesn't have such a system, the incentive structure is loaded towards throwing yourself on the floor.
Yes, correct.
Because you know it's never coming back. Once that opportunity has gone, it's never coming back. But with rugby, we do a really good job. It's frustrating, but what we do, unlike that idiot David Walsh who doesn't understand values or systems or incentives, right? What we do have is a system which does not incentivize holding your head.
No, because
that's why it's so surprising.
Because and I think mainly,
or do we? Because so, do you think with that same incident?
I think that
Alex Mitchell got a yellow card for that.
Yes, I see what you're saying.
I think that would have come back.
Yeah,
I think if Lawrence continues, offloads whoever's alongside him, Thokanasinger or Ajomu or whoever was with him at the time, goes under the posts, I think the try stands, and I think...
And a yellow card.
There's a yellow card. And I think it's the better outcome. And I think it's why I'm kind of tolerant of those... the frustrating ones that we don't actually really need to look at, like that Caelan Doris one, because it delayed the kick by a minute, but the right decision was come in the end, and having those false positives actually means that the system, it proves the system is working.
Yeah, it's not so I thought the Lawrence thing. I thought, maybe these annoying calls. It's frustrating as it is. I'd much rather have that in the sport
than it never get called back.
Yeah, I'd much rather have annoying officials in the sport than have cowardly players.
Yes, and that's the trade-off.
Yeah,
we're on the right side. Yeah, I'm with you.
That is the trade-off. I guess we did mention this a couple of months ago that I'm just worrying that this is starting to come in. But so Ollie Lawrence was hit in the head. There was at least penalty. I thought the yellow card was harsh, and that could have changed. That could have changed the game. And maybe this is what I mean. Maybe the yellow card happened because Ollie Lawrence went down. If he'd have gone down and gone, oh, by the way, I only went down to get your attention, but you've seen it, so I just want you to know he didn't hit me hard enough that I fell to the ground.
You get a yellow card and you get a yellow card.
Maybe he doesn't get a yellow card.
Yeah, maybe.
It changes the perception, and I don't like the dishonesty in it.
No, I don't.
There's a lack of honour, and this is an occasion where there was at least a penalty threshold met. But what happens on those occasions when it's more marginal?
It's a good question.
Does it take it from, I won't give that a penalty, that's fine, to, okay, I'm going to give it a penalty, and does it take a penalty to a yellow card, and does it take a yellow card to a red card?
If you feel that you've been hit, but it's not hard, I think your incentive is to carry on because you're not sure it will be a yellow card. So you carry on, you hope that you score, and then
But then, to Tim's point, if you've not been hit hard, but you go down, you throw yourself on the floor, and there's been head contact, and you throw yourself on the floor, the player might get a yellow card, even though it's not.
You're picking and going around the corner, you feel some head contact, and you pretend to be knocked out.
And what I will
picking and going.
You spill the ball forward. Well, no one would do that.
And on the one hand, we saw that a bit of empathy with that Caelan Doris call. He was hinged at the waist 90 degrees. What more could you want the player to do?
It was a great call, that.
On the flip side, I thought the Claremont player in the Bath game was quite harshly dealt with.
I did as well.
Someone with, I can't remember which Bath player it was. But
was it a Jomo? Was it a Jomo? Was it
I think it was a Jomo, yeah. Brilliant step. Steps well enough that the guy that was dead opposite him about to tackle him doesn't manage to touch him, and he steps into a loose head prop who the referee said had plenty. He said, you had plenty of time to change. And you watch it in real speed and go,
no.
What expectation have you got on any rugby player, let alone a squat loose head prop?
So I thought that was harsh to be a red card because there was mitigation.
Yeah.
I didn't like. So Dalalio was commentating on that, and he said there was mitigation because the Bath player went up.
Yeah.
I was like, hang on a minute. If the player's head gets higher, it's harder. Like, that's no mitigation. That's an argument in favour of escalating the penalty. So Dalalio didn't understand what he was talking about there. Yeah. Not for the first time.
And I reckon it's also one of those where had the Claremont player been Baptiste Jeannot rather than the loose head prop, probably penalty. Probably just like, well...
The Faf de Klerk law. Like, Faf de Klerk has got away with so many high shots.
That was Faffy.
Yeah.
You know what he's like.
Cheeky Faffy.
It's tough, but it's a tough business. Let's not make the referee's job harder by being dishonest and dishonourable.
Yeah.
Which I do think Ollie Lawrence was.
Well, he did apologise to Mitchell, didn't he?
Yeah, he came out and apologised first, and then, which was, I'm sorry about that. I can see what people were saying, because people were saying you play acted. He said, I just want to come out and I hope everything's all right. It was only then, a couple of days later, when he explained it in full, he kind of, I'm not a cheat, but I did the thing which is basically cheating.
Yeah.
But I'm not a cheat.
Here's his quote. I was completely entitled to go down. Did use that word. I didn't cheat the system or dive. But you've gone down. By the letter of the law, if there's head collision, you're allowed to go down and the ref can review it. But I'm not sure that is the letter of the law.
No, that's not the letter of the law.
You can go down. The ref can review it, yes, but you're allowed to go down.
Oh, if he thinks he's seriously hurt, he should go down for his own safety.
Yeah. Or if he is actually seriously hurt. That's not what he's saying.
No. And he did apologise.
Yeah, it wasn't bad enough to go down in the way that I did.
Yeah.
So he's kind of contradicted
himself
within his own statement. Yes.
He says his only motivation for going down, because it wasn't enough to take him down, was to draw the attention to the referee.
Yeah, that's silly. It is silly because I think it had been picked up anyway.
Yes.
So, there we go.
And come on, we should hold rugby players to a higher standard. As much as we say there's no rugby values and stuff, these are tough men. Like, act like the tough stoicism is one of the things you said. You always talk about, I will always warm up in a vest, whatever the weather.
I've got PTSD after that.
Yeah, and what's the face?
Normal face.
Normal face.
Yeah,
it's like he's just done the opposite of normal face.
I do not know what this voice note says, but this is Ben Whitehouse's interpretation of that law. Okay, and it's from JP Doyle.
Evening, JB. I hope you're well. I hope training post-Christmas has gone well for you. Just on that, so what the law is, the ball is in play when it's inside the field of play, including the plane of touch, okay? So if you are outside the plane of touch yourself, like, you can still score a try if the ball's in field.
Like you said,
your point. Kick the ball if it's still in field. So what Ben Whitehouse was trying to deduce was whether that ball
gone over the plane of touch
was in the field of play or was touching the plane and therefore out, a la American football. I know you're an NFL fan, so the same. Had it broken the plane of play to be in field or out of field because it was clear the player was standing on the touchline. So if the ball was over the plane of touch, a la if it was in the end zone breaking the plane, it wouldn't have been a try. If the ball's in field you can do that. Therefore, it is a try.
Oh,
so think about
the
when
ball must have been...
players, if they dive to keep the ball from going out of touch, if the ball's crossed the plane, they have to have their feet still in play and throw the ball back over their head before they go out. So because it works that way, it works in reverse the same.
There you go.
Very well explained, JP.
Well, right. So first of all, this is why our refs are so good.
They're so good.
Yeah. They're so good. I've said this about JP loads of times. The way he watched the game, I remember him describing some things which happened at sales. I do not remember any of those things in any of that detail. But then I'm not looking at decisions. But Ben Whitehouse, take a bow. Great decision.
Well,
so I've found it on World Rugby Laws by Number in Law 18, which is touch, quick throw and line out. And it's as JP described it. So if the player is in touch... if the player is in the field of play, even if the ball passes outside the plane of touch, if you catch it and bring it back within... or you catch it and throw it back in as you fall out, the ball remains in, even though it's crossed the plane of touch. But as long as the ball is inside the plane of touch, inside the field of play, you can be stood outside, and as long as you don't catch it, if you catch it and you're stood outside,
then possession counts.
The possession, but if you kick it or tap it, it's fine.
Right. We play
that can be simplified.
Yeah, we play a remarkably stupid game, don't we? A remarkably stupid game. Well done. Well done, Ben Whitehouse.
Yeah,
I put that in my referee corner of excellence.
Absolutely.
Oh, just to casually explain that so clearly as well. They are.
Yes.
That's one of the qualities of referees, is just exceptional communicators, aren't they?
Yes.
Tell you who's not an exceptional communicator. Or actually, they might be, judged by their salary. I've read something today, or been sent something today, about the RFU. Now,
should we talk a little bit about rugby and save that, because we've just had a heavy ref sesh?
Yeah. What I'm going to ask you to do is consider, if you were a business and you wanted to engage with the NFL, who you think you'd be engaging with, and just I'll let that question stew, and we'll come back to this after some rugby.
Interesting.
Okay.
When you say engage with, you mean if you were rugby?
No,
if you were the NFL?
If you're like, I don't know.
I'm Nike, and I want to be working with the NFL.
Yeah. You're going to go and work with the NFL. You pick up the phone to the NFL. Hey, NFL, can I come and see your senior staff? What kind of individual do you think would be working there?
Okay.
Let's start with that. Okay. So, anyway, some rugby.
Yeah.
Yes. So which games did you guys watch live? Oh, I know, Tim, you were at one game.
So the two games I was most excited about this weekend, well, 3 games. The 3 games I was most excited about, La Rochelle, Leinster, and we could just quickly rattle through a couple of points from that one.
La Rochelle, Leinster.
Jack Knoll's still really good at rugby.
He is good at rugby,
Jack Knoll was ace.
So good.
I thought he was the best player on the La Rochelle team today.
Well, I thought Aldrich was brilliant as well.
Aldrich was good, yeah.
And that young lad, Jegu, it looks really promising. Doris and Van der Fleer are different gravy, though. Those two are just insane.
Although I have to say, so both of them were excellent. Van der Fleer was superb all game. Apart from the final minute when the ball bounces off the post.
Correct.
He made a big mistake there. He tried to carry too hard and too upright. All he has to do is hit the deck, couple of phases, kick the ball out, game over. And he takes it in so upright and gets held up. Yeah. But in the end, it didn't matter.
Yeah. Dylan Lay's try was just awesome. We're seeing quite a lot of this lately. It's a bit of a thing I've seen happening more and more. The kick pass to get to the edge is one thing.
Yeah.
But then with the scramble defence covering across, the winger who's just collected the ball, nudging through for themselves. We saw.
I love
that. Was great.
We saw that in the Premiership the other week with
Did we?
Tommy Freeman. No.
That is a Tommy Freeman style
Bristol
thing.
player. I can't remember, but it's I've seen it a lot in the French top 14 for the last year or two.
BL is
he is
the best.
He's the best at that.
It's
awesome.
Can we just talk
there was
about
Slighthome did it.
Slighthome did it, yeah.
The absolute outrageousness of Pinot. Did you see that inside miss 6 pass for no particular reason? Who is he?
Right, he's about to run over and score a try, and the casual 30-metre pass across 2 Exeter players directly into Jalibert's hands so they can score under the posts.
Well, that was his. Was that going to be his fourth?
Yeah, that's when they were 50.
I thought,
or was that going to be? It might have been his hat trick, or it was going to be his third or fourth try.
I honestly assumed when he did that there was some sort of fine for scoring hat tricks.
You have to buy a jug.
Yeah, I thought there's got to be, and then he scored again. I was like, why did he not give that away? That's weird.
Yeah,
just stay on 2.
Yeah, that was going to be his hat trick, wasn't he?
Yeah, that was his hat
Well,
trick.
he just knew he was going to get his hat trick
I'll get
later.
another one later. It means nothing to me. And the other one is Luku, who...
Oh, Luku's so good.
I mean, he looks every bit the second best scrum half in the world. Slightly not
But
the best scrum
he's
half
the
in the world.
third choice French scrum half.
No, he'll be number 2 come Six Nations.
Well, in November, Le Garrec was the backup.
Le Garric's ace.
And Le Garrec started in the Six Nations.
When Dupont wasn't
Yeah, when
available.
Dupont wasn't there. So Luku is third choice
So
currently.
I think Le Garrec is the first choice Dupont replacement. But I think that Luku is the first choice replacement. Does that make sense?
So if
Luku's on the bench.
Dupont's there, Luku's on the bench. If Dupont's not there, Le Garrec starts.
But Luku remains.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
All right, yeah.
Oh, it's Luku's birthday today.
Oh, happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Couple of tries for you on your birthday.
He got 3, didn't he?
He was awesome.
Did you get 3 as well?
And that's for Exeter. I mean...
Oh, you got 2.
They shouldn't be in this competition, should they?
No. They won't be next year.
No.
They were so far off the pace. It was embarrassing. It was embarrassing. And I love Exeter. I love everything about Exeter.
Same.
They're not ready for anything remotely.
I think this is payback for their European kits. They won the when they look back at the pictures of them winning the trophy, they're going to be in that horrible turquoise kit.
Yeah.
There's going to be a reckoning at some point, and this season is the reckoning.
Here is a thing, which is we've spent a lot of time criticising the competition for being a bit rubbish. We haven't spent any time criticising the Premiership teams, or maybe not the Premiership teams, but this failed experiment with limiting the pay of the players. So as far as I can see, you cannot run a competitive league. And when I say competitive, the league itself is competitive, but the teams within the league obviously are not up to the standards of the top 14 and the URC. Do we agree with that statement?
Yes,
Tim?
I do.
Yeah, I think I'm on solid ground there.
Broadly speaking, there's an overlap, but the teams that the Premiership teams are more competitive with are the teams that are... Well, no, because the overlap's not as...
Claremont and Bath looked fairly well matched.
Yeah.
You know, and Claremont are doing well. But they're not been good for a long time.
No, they're not great away from home.
And Stade Francais, they are rubbish this year. They were quite good last year, and they battered Northampton in the end.
Not battered.
Well, you know, they came back from... Anyway, so that's kind of roughly where they are. Point is this. It is not good enough to pay the England boys to stay in England and think that that's going to be enough to prop up your league if you want to be competitive in European rugby. You need a lot more money. And I wonder, is there any way to catch up without substantial private investment by the current owners or new owners?
I'd come at that from a different direction. I've got no problem with the salary cap.
No, I'm not.
Well, instinctively I do, because it's limiting the pay of players, and it's a short career that can be ended by one injury. But logistically, I have no problem. I have a problem with the salary cap and only picking players that play in the Premiership for England. That's the element that just has to change. And one thing quite apart from the Premiership, because...
To everyone else, this is a task. But to you, this is opportunity.
Switch to Boost Mobile and get the Coach Prime Moto G5G for $29.99 at boostmobile.com. The Boost Mobile network, together with our roaming partners, covers 99% of the U.S. population. Moto G5G for $29.99 when you switch with a new Unlimited Plus or Unlimited Premium plan activation. Online only. Taxes extra. All prices, fees, features, functionality, and offers are subject to change without notice. Visit boostmobile.com for details.
This podcast is brought to you by eHarmony, the dating app to find someone you can be yourself with. What makes eHarmony so special? You. No, really. The profiles and conversations are different on eHarmony, and that's what makes it great. eHarmony's compatibility quiz brings out everyone's personality on their profile and highlights similarities on your discovery page. So it's even easier to start a conversation that actually goes somewhere. So what are you waiting for? Get who gets you on eHarmony. Sign up today.
I mean, when it comes to the England team, like, why is the Premiership part of the conversation there? Do you want the best national team you can or not? How much better has Jack Willis got?
Well,
my problem that I always say with that is you've got one England player in Toulouse getting better. The times of England being actually good was when either Exeter or Saracens, or back in the day, Wasps and Leicester, and you had a squad that had 15, 16, like a squad in the Leicester and Wasps days back in the 2000s. You had 15 or 16 players in each of those squads going deep in Europe. So that's the best way.
Yeah, fair.
But what you can't have is your point before, where you can't suppress the league wages from 7 million down to 5 million and expect to have that. You can't have both.
No.
And to your point before, JB, the salary cap is going back up to 6.4 plus 600k plus the marquee players. But all of the teams are losing money at the moment. Yep. Bristol lost 4 million last year. And as long as Steve Lansdowne and his family are happy for them to keep doing that...
He made more than that in interest.
That'll be fine.
Probably.
Yeah,
but not everyone else did.
No.
Do his sons and daughters think of it the same way? Does his wife think of it the same? Like, it can't continue forever, that.
There was nobody willing to buy Wasps or Worcester or indeed London Irish for £1. They were giving it away. Like, look, just take this thing off us. If you love it, take it off us. Of course, they won't do it because of the CVC deal. But if they want to catch up with the French teams, or indeed the union-backed provinces, excluding Wales, they're going to need to find some very, very generous owners very quickly.
And you see, so Exeter Chiefs, I mentioned it before, their loss last year was £400,000. I just looked up the figure, £419,000 pre-tax loss, which was down from 4.5 million loss the year before. So they reduced their loss by 4.1 million, which is great, but you've seen the consequences on the performance by jettisoning in all those good players, bringing in a load of kids, some of whom will come good.
Probably half that money is salary cap space.
Yeah, I would say at least. Definitely the single biggest contributor to that 4.1 million reduction in loss will be salary.
And another chunk of it is selling a more of a stake in the hotel than they sell.
Yeah. I mean, look, if anything happens to Tony Rowe, I mean, for all those idiots out there who deride him as a racist or whatever you want to call him, or some arrogant guy or whatever it is, if anything happens to Tony Rowe, Exeter are in a world of pain. Because I know it's a members-owned club, but it's not really.
He's a chairman, but he's by far the biggest contributor.
Don't make any mistakes in thinking that it's anything else other than Tony Rowe driving that thing. We want to probably go cap in hand back to Nigel Ray and say, we're really sorry about how we treated you. Please come and spend all of your money on world-class players and buy some farmland. We've got to find some money from somewhere, because the gap now between the English and the French clubs, and probably the Scottish clubs and probably the Irish clubs, certainly the premier Scottish and Irish clubs, it's just so vast. I don't think it can be made up. I mean, basically, the Premiership teams look, broadly speaking, on par with Benetton.
And Benetton are a decent team, but that's not where they want to be. They want to be competing for European titles.
It's beneath teams like Leicester.
But it's without massive improvement in the funding of the league, not through the owners, through television deals and other marketing deals, you're not going to get it. That's what's got to bridge the gap. Part of it the owners, and part of it the central funding through those deals.
To the rugby, let me just rattle through some highlights.
Can we talk about Racing losing? Because they lost.
I was just going to say, Hewitt Pelotu are just so good.
Yeah.
For Glasgow.
That Glasgow team. So I watched most of that, and when they click, they're some team.
Yeah.
Their offloading game is awesome.
Tom Jordan just had all the time and space. You want to just get the ball to the edges. They're so good.
Was it you talking about Jack Mann today, Tim?
No.
Someone mentioned him.
Someone mentioned him as like a Lions bolter.
Jack Mann, the number 8, yeah.
Yeah, it was, in our WhatsApp group a couple of days ago as a Lions bolter. I don't think that, but he's without Jack Dempsey there, who is their main number 8. He is playing very, very well.
Yes.
Yeah, they're a good team.
They're a lovely team.
The Ferguson brothers are great.
Yes.
I wonder how long Jackie Lorenzetti's going to put up with this. Seriously, because they're not going through, are they?
No.
Actually, can they go through?
Probably.
5 points, 5 points, 5 points, 4 points. They win. Who have they got next? Stormers.
Yeah, they can go through. Yeah, they've got Stormers at home, so they'll they'll win that one, you'd think. Maybe get the full 5 points, which put them on 9. Quins have got to play Glasgow. So, yeah, Racing can sail. I've got a host Toulon. So, yeah, Racing can go through. 100%. Just like they did last year. Last year they got 1 win and got through.
Wow. Yeah. 1 win, 1 win, 1 win. Okay, yeah, so they can go through. Imagine if they didn't. Do you think... So I'm fascinated by 3 subjects in English rugby. Okay, Leicester Tigers and what they're going to do going forward.
Yes, I've got an observation on that.
Which dovetails, right, with Stuart Lancaster and what he's going to do going forward, because this can't continue.
Henry Arundel and what he's going to do going forward.
Don't really care about him. He's sideshow. And of course,
I want to see his thighs and his shorts.
He's got great quads.
And of course, everyone's favourite fly half, Owen Farrell.
Dan Lancaster.
Dan Lancaster. Yeah, and actually, there's more storylines coming out of there. So there's obviously talk about Farrell maybe going elsewhere, Leicester, which I think is a terrible idea, right? There's also the fact that I don't think Stuart Lancaster is ever going to be looked at seriously again as a head coach. I mean, Correct. This has to be it.
I was thinking about the Peter principle the other day.
Yeah.
One of our favourite principles, where everyone gets promoted to their point of incompetence. So, like in normal working environments, particularly government environments or big stale businesses, you get promoted to your level of incompetence and you just stay there for 20 years.
Yeah,
but rugby's a meritocracy, and so Stuart Lancaster he's a very good coach. So he gets
amazing.
Promoted. He must be. And he's been promoted and found himself twice now in the top job position. And were he in council, he would have stayed there for 20 years. But because we are in...
Children's services or something.
Children's services,
moved sideways.
Yes.
Or promoted.
Promotion, yes. Because he's in the true meritocracy of sport, he's been found out twice, he will not get a job like that again. But he will go and have a senior coach job. There's loads of teams that would take him as a senior coach again.
You can imagine him showing up in Bath and being a number 2 or something like that. Or Saracens or something.
Anywhere, yeah, I can see any big club appointing him as that.
Except for one club.
Go on.
Well, if anything happened to Chaka, I think Tigers would think about him. And the reason I think that is because where he's proven his worth is in Leinster, and he gets basically no say. Leinster just, here are amazing players, make them more amazing. We've got all these private schools. They do all the development. You just need to polish them up and give them...
Cheka's a culture and... Yeah, he's a culture guy.
So Cheka, right, just remove him from the picture. In Leicester Tigers, all of that decision-making of who plays for you, who you sign is removed. He doesn't need to be signing his son because it's not his job. So before we went to Racing, he was quoted as saying, every day I'm on the phone making personnel decisions, moulding the squad for next year. Well, that was their first mistake. They should have said, look, here is your squad. We've got an expert to do that. You just coach them, right? Not a director of rugby role, head coach role. So I guess if someone can do that for him, so he has absolutely no say in squad construction, very little say, maybe he can pick the team on a Saturday. I'm open to that. But he can't go out signing players.
Yeah.
I mean, who signs... Which other coach in the world would sign Dan Lancaster for Racing?
Yeah, I was going to say, it's got to be a championship team.
We've talked about this already.
Yeah. So anyway, these are things... So Racing is providing this amazing storyline now, and I'm just wondering where all these strands go. Well, Farrell, I've got a prediction, Farrell to go back to Saracens. Because I don't know who misses who more. I'm pretty sure they're both missing each other a lot right now.
Saracens are missing him, but not... Yeah, they are missing him. They are missing him.
Like, he's so key to everything.
Yeah, they are missing him.
It's like Brady and Belichick.
Fergus Burke is a good player, and he's a great value player, but he's not Owen Farrell.
No, he's not.
No. So, just to your Leicester question, and the question that we've been asking about fly half for a little while, we got... I'm going to try and find who said this on email. Someone on email suggested a name, and I think it is a great...
Ooh, yes, please.
There we go. It was Richard Turner. really enjoyed listening and was wondering if you'd thought of the young Argentine number 10, Albornoz, for the Leicester shot, assuming that Pollard leaves at the end of the season. He settled into international rugby really quickly, was quietly impressive throughout the Rugby Championship. I'm guessing he would not be too expensive. He'd even be able to hang around for a good few years. Thank you. And I thought... I thought yes anyway, because I've seen him play for Argentina.
Very good.
And I don't know if you saw his pass to Rhino Smith for the first try today was absolutely sensational.
Where's he playing at the moment?
Your beloved Benetton.
Of course, it's only that.
His pass to Rhino Smith for the first try and his crossfield kick for the second try. His pass was the most recent time I've seen a pass like that was Finn Russell. And Finn Russell will be 5 times more expensive than Albornoz would be. And Finn Russell is 32. Finn Russell's got 3 or 4 more years.
Albornoz
more years.
Albornoz could command double what he's on now if he was on the open market, because French teams would be in for him. Lots of teams would be in for him.
That is very true.
But Leicester have got the money.
Yeah. He could get double his salary and still be half what Pollard is.
Yeah.
So I've got a few theories, all right? I've shared with you the, what's his name? Northampton fullback theory.
Go on.
Because that's my massive wild card is...
Hendy.
No, the other one.
Furbank.
Right? So...
Oh, to go to 10 for Leicester?
Yeah, I mean, he's expensive, so I'm not sure if Northampton's good re-signing. He's EQP. He wants to stay in the Premiership for his England money. And he can play fly half.
And he's Northampton's captain.
Yeah, but can Northampton keep him? I mean, look at all their options. They've got Hendy
with the fact
through.
150 grand of his money is coming from England. Yeah, I think they.
But what if England say no to him? Then what? Because they've got.
If England say no, then
just think about their back row.
If England say no, then this is the thing.
Graham.
If England say no, you go to France.
But maybe he wants to get re-established. I just think that that's one of those weird ones, right? So they've already got a guy there called Tom Therfall, who's 21. Below that, apparently, they've got a really talented young lad called... what's his name? I can't remember now. Can't remember. But there's a 16-year-old there, which they... Oscar Talbot, right? So watch out for him. But that'd be like George Ford when he won the Premiership there. Like, he'd be coming through at 17, which I just don't think you can play Premiership fly half at 17.
So Furbank is, I was just looking, he is one of the 17 contracted players in the RFU. So that makes it even harder.
Yeah, so Furbank was my theory, because like Leicester have always gotten by second-rate fly halves, with the exception of Ford.
But even when they won it a couple of years ago, Ford was injured and it was Freddie Burns.
So just list the fly halves. I mean, Good, a great club fly half, but a second-rate international. Would you agree on that?
Yes.
Good,
Floody,
Burns, Ryan Lamb for a short period of time. Burke for a short
Austin
period
Healy
of time.
was there 10 when they won one of their Champions Cup.
Austin Healy, yep, who arguably wasn't even a fly half.
He was everything, though.
Yeah.
And where have they always got their attacking flair from? Inside centre. Pat Howard, Aaron Major, Gibson. Right, so it wouldn't surprise me if they went for less money there and more money at outside centre.
The trend now is not for a second playmaker at 12. It's for a big unit, and they've gone for Kata
and Parise,
who are very direct.
The Bash brothers.
Yeah. Freddie Stewart was very, very good in that game.
He was. So I think he's been playing his best rugby for a long time, and Furbank is out of the Six Nations, so I think he should be starting. I think he's playing some really good rugby. He got at least a couple of try assists in this game, and he was fundamental in tearing Ulster apart in the last 30, 40 minutes.
Yeah.
It's the hope that kills you, isn't it? When it's 12-10 at half-time, you think,
there is a chance.
Maybe we've got a chance, even though the only Ulster try came from unusual bounce that landed in Nick Timoney's hands. The second half was tough watching, though, as an Ulster fan.
Just bouncing around and just touching on a couple of games. Sharks v Toulouse was the other game I was really excited about watching.
You talked this up.
36,000 people went to watch it.
To watch Anton.
Which is amazing.
Which is amazing, but the stadium still looked a bit empty. It must be a massive stadium.
It's a 52,000 stadium, and people, So
which stadium were they in of the 250,000 side by side?
Just in case there's 250,000 games going on simultaneously.
It's mad. It's mad that. But Toulouse I mean, it felt like they never really got out of first gear. And they kept trying to do the offloads. Could only score 2 tries.
Which is disappointing for Toulouse.
It is disappointing, but, I mean, fair play. The scramble defence from Sharks was brilliant, but Toulouse are just outrageous. Dupont is just a freak. Miafu.
No. The Ramos try, which wasn't his try, it was
Kinghorn's try.
Blew my mind.
Yeah.
I mean, how many of these moments
look behind the back.
Yeah. Do they want? It's
so sexy.
I mean, it's not Dupont's amazing, but what's even more amazing is he's amazing against a background of so many other amazing players. Ramos on his own, if Ramos just happened to play for, name the random team, we're going, he is just an amazing player, star of the show. You won't even notice him. It's like, it's just Ramos. It's just what's his name, Entamac. Entamac's incredible. That 50-22, just outrageous. He just stood there casually.
Equally, he was also very casual when he should have run in and comfortably scored a try, and you sort of go, is that post-ACL injury, Ntamack not being able to gas it to the line?
Yeah, well, one try, what of it?
I can't wait to see him in Six Nations, though. I cannot wait to see him.
Have you seen my favourite clip of Ntamack?
Manhandling Owen Farrell.
I love that clip.
You talk about it all the time.
And also, I like to watch it in slow motion to classical music. It's so good.
Tyke Burns, just an absolute force of nature. Munster came through in that game.
It's disappointing in Saracens, though.
Yeah.
Because, like I said before, that's the kind of game that Saracens of old would have been closing out.
Yeah, agreed.
If anything, score a try.
They looked, they didn't score a try. God, Liam Williams lit about 65, 70 minutes when he breaks down the left and he looked all too casual.
Yeah.
Fair play to Munster, though, because that was tough conditions, hard-fought game, and that kind of 5-10 minute blast towards the middle of the second half was what did it.
For the game, the first game on Saturday, Stormers Sharks, Marnie Libok is so good.
He's a great player, isn't he?
Callant, the fullback, was brilliant as well.
I was so disappointed in Sale, though.
Sale was so bad.
I think this is going to be the straw that breaks camel's back at Sale. I think someone's going to lose their job.
They did loads of good things. And how can their defence be so good one week? We were only talking up Byron McGuigan's as a defence coach, and then they're that bad. But they did so many good things. And just one thing I do want to mention, which is one silver lining for Sale, Bevan Rod annihilated Franz Malherbe at scrum time. Scrummed him off the park to the point that Malherbe repeated penalties, yellow card.
Wow.
Bevan Rod.
Wow, that's very cool.
It is very cool.
The 0 is not cool, though.
The 0 is not cool.
I mean, this is where it's... something needs to change at Sale, I think, now. I don't know what it will be. I put
this down... This is one of those... This is not the thing that you throw the baby out with the bathwater on, in my mind. Because it's a one-off game. They've had to travel however many thousand miles it is, 8,000 miles to get there in a week. Right. So And also there was a point early in that second half... Sale had a disallowed try. I've watched so much rugby, I'm trying to remember why it was disallowed. 5 minutes into the second half, when Stormers were only 14 points up, they had a disallowed try. And had that oh no, it wasn't disallowed. It was Bedlow crossfield kick for Luke James.
Correct.
And he dropped the ball with no one in front of him. Yeah, it wasn't disallowed.
And then a second later, Sitole goes and scores.
Yes. Yeah. So it was a 14 point. So it would have been 14-7, and it was actually 21-0.
Yeah.
And at that point, you actually saw them like, we are done. We're not going to win this game, and kind of give up. And that's when the floodgates open. Yeah, personally, I don't think it's good enough. The nil is one thing. Well, conceding 40 points. Those two things, when you say it combined, like that.
Stormers in Cape Town are good. They beat La Rochelle last year at home.
But, I mean, that's just not an acceptable score.
No, scoreline's poor. Yeah.
You know, we were raving about Sale with one of the best ever defensive performances, potentially against Bristol Bears. They only scored 38 points to 0. Stormers put 2 extra points on them. You know, so it's just, I think there'll be changes. I really do.
Then we have Stade Francais. Just a quick shout. France have got another Emmanuel Meafu just waiting.
Oh, this is the
JJ Van der Mesht. Is
good French name.
South African born. He's been in France for a couple of years. So in another couple of years, I think it's in maybe another 18 months, he qualifies, and he's about the same size, shape, and style as Emmanuel Meafu.
Oh, wow. Oh, good.
So is this right, his age? I've got his age here down as 25, 26.
Is he that old?
A few months' time, yeah.
Well, Meafu's 25, 26, isn't he?
Is he?
Interesting. I didn't
Where
know
was
that.
he before that, then?
He was at the Sharks.
Was he?
Yeah, born in Pretoria, but played from this.
I wonder if there's any
Rugby in the
sort
Sharks.
of wish for South Africa to say, yeah, we'll cap you now. Or go play for France. You can always come back because of the laws. We don't think you're good enough anyway.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. Like, what's his name? Jean Klein.
Yeah.
Did.
Do whatever you want to see.
Here's my prediction. Dave Ribbons will be playing for South Africa in 2027 World Cup.
Ooh, good prediction, like that.
That is definitely possible. Yeah,
3 years, isn't it? When his last England game was before the Rugby World Cup.
Yeah, did he play? He didn't go to the World Cup, did he?
So maybe it was six. Maybe it was Six Nations 23.
23, according to this. Yeah.
He doesn't seem like he'd be a guy who's quite good enough for me.
But you might have said that about Jean Klein.
Yeah,
yes.
He won a World Cup.
You definitely would have. Definitely.
Captain at Toulon.
Yeah, it's not nothing.
Oh yeah, so he did play he played in the 2023 World Cup in one. He only played against Chile.
Toulon, by the way.
So what was the date of that?
Oh, and came off the bench. He did come off the bench in the third place playoff.
Okay, so
Argentina.
like November 26, he'll qualify.
Yes.
Toulon,
so Autumn Internationals 26.
Who started
next? Yeah, it's only next season.
Who started with Baptiste Saran?
Maybe it's too long actually.
And Gobisi.
Yeah,
but because they felt like it, they just brought on two international captains at replacement halfback, Dan Biggar and Ben White, which is outrageous, isn't it?
Yeah, and they battered Quins.
Battered them.
The scoreline looked respectable with, and the second half they were 26-0 down. Game was already won, and then Quins rallied 3 tries in the second half.
My favourite moment of that game was when Baptiste Saran came off. Did you see who he kissed and who he received a kiss from?
I did not.
Charles Olivon?
Not Charles Olivon.
Shame.
To everyone else, this is a desk. But to you, it's a launch pad. Your starting block. This ain't a desk. This is opportunity.
Switch to Boost Mobile and get the Coach Prime Moto G 5G on us at your local Boost retailer. Moto G 5G on us when you switch with ID verification and new Unlimited Plus or Unlimited Premium plan activation. Taxes extra. All prices, fees, features, functionality, and offers are subject to change without notice. See participating dealers for details.
Hey, I'm Ryan Reynolds. At Mint Mobile, we like to do the opposite of what Big Wireless does. They charge you a lot. We charge you a little. So naturally, when they announced they'd be raising their prices due to inflation, we decided to deflate our prices due to not hating you. That's right. We're cutting the price of Mint Unlimited from $30 a month to just $15 a month. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.
So not a current player, former player who's in the I assume he's in the coaching setup.
What is it?
He's looking very cool with his little black round glasses, and he was wearing a little beanie hat as well.
So you're saying the coaches?
In the coaches, yeah, but he's a recent former player.
Michalak?
No, Michalak's, is he at Racing?
Toulon. Michalak's a coach at Racing,
yeah.
Former player for Toulon.
Former player for Toulon. He's played elsewhere as well. He's played in other places as well.
Little black glasses, you say?
Yeah. I've never seen him in glasses before. So
little black.
I've never seen him in a little beanie hat, but he looked particularly cool.
Parise.
Not Parise.
Oh, yeah, he's one of the coaches there, though, isn't he?
Is he?
Is he?
Yeah.
What could he possibly coach you? Be really good at rugby.
Be super
Can
handsome.
Can you be super naturally good? No. Get out. I can't imagine. It'd be like being coached by Pierre Spies. There'd be no point.
So I'll tell you who this guy played for.
Yeah.
He played for Massy, which I assume is like a lower tier club.
Mm-hmm.
Stade Francais, Toulon, Lyon, and New York.
Oh, Mathieu Bastereau.
Yeah.
Bastereau. So Saran snuck up behind him and gave him a little kiss on the back of his neck.
Oh.
And Bastereau was like a bit shocked and then saw who it was and just gave him a big kiss on the cheek.
That's sweet. Bless him.
Castra absolutely pumped.
Bulls.
Awful, poor Bulls team. They're better than that. They sent their bin juice. They're
Bulls have got a bit of a history, haven't they, throwing games in this competition?
Yes.
Castra are quite good at home. Remy Baget is a great winger. La Rochelle, Leinster, we talked about that. Bristol, Benetton. Bristol, I didn't see this game except for highlights.
Same.
And the
last minute.
Close finish. And Bath were very good. Thomas Dutoit is so good.
Just
at
another
rugby.
2 tries this week for Thomas Dutoit.
He is so good.
There's no way they can keep him and Finn, is there?
Surely
Unless they
not.
give him the entirety of the salary increase.
Might be worth it.
Here's an extra 1.4 million to you. Everyone else stays on the same deal.
What would Pat Lam do?
By 2027, Thomas Dutoit is going to be regarded as the best tight head prop in the world. Him or Tyrell Lomax.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's one of those two. I think I'm with you on that one.
And he'll probably be regarded as the second best loose head prop on the planet at the same time.
Yeah. Poor old Will Stewart.
Yep.
Or maybe get rid of Will Stewart and just give
the entirety of Will Stewart's salary.
I mean,
to him.
they've also got Archie Griffin knocking about. So
he's not quite ready yet.
But
he's got to get better.
But if you want to keep Thomas Dutoit, right, you go, well, if Will Stewart gets off our books, that's a lot of money.
That's a few $100,000.
Have all his money.
They've got salary cap space now. They've got another million odd quid.
1.4 million.
So they can just, that's fine.
I imagine they're going to want I think they've got to re-sign Ben Spencer.
Yep.
They've got to re-sign. They've got to find some Arundel money because apparently he's notoriously cheap.
They got rid of Regan Grace.
Have they?
Gone to Cardiff, yeah.
Has he really?
I think effective immediate as well.
Wow, that worked out terribly for everyone involved.
Right, I'll tell you what I'll do. I will just run through the fixtures next week for the Champions Cup and then we'll answer your question.
Yes.
So Friday night, this is a shootout for the Challenge Cup. So not a great way to start the weekend, to be honest, but Ulster Exeter. I've worked at an Ulster Exeter Champions Cup game. The Steno drop kick to win it in the last second. There's been some great nights there. So hopefully the crowd turn out and hopefully that's interesting. But I would understand if some people just go, I'll go out Friday night. But hey, someone's going to get into the Challenge Cup. Saturday, Bulls against Stade Francais.
It is disappointing that that's the only Friday night game.
Yeah, it is. I don't know what the Challenge Cup game is. I haven't paid any attention to that competition. Claremont Bristol. That's interesting. Both teams can go through. Northampton Munster. That's actually quite a spicy game. They've got history,
yes,
and rivalry, and it's a shootout. Even from last year, yeah.
And it is a shootout for top spot.
Yeah. Benetton, La Rochelle. Benetton can qualify. La Rochelle could end up missing out. They will know what they need to do by the time this one comes around
to get top two,
because it follows the game beforehand. And then you've got Leinster Bath.
So Bath blowing it at Benetton, sending in the kids.
And then 2 kickoffs at 8 p.m. Racing Stormers and Quins Glasgow. Quins Glasgow should be quite good.
Yeah, and that's a game that we've seen. Did you see that last year?
I feel like we've seen that. Was that a knockout game?
Maybe.
Did Quins beat Glasgow in the knockout? Don't know why.
Last 16.
Was it a pool game? I can't remember.
2024. Well, Quins Glasgow 2024. 28-24, 5th of April 24, so that would be knockout game.
Yeah, it was, yeah. 28-24, great match.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it could be pretty cool. And then you've got that Saturday taken care of. Sunday, 4 matches. Bordeaux Sharks, who cares? Sharks, that's just going to... How many points do Bordeaux win by? Toulouse Leicester, probably sad to say the same.
Yeah, I do. I really hope that Leicester go full Bordeaux. You've got to have a crack, and it strikes me that Chica won't die lying down.
Yeah,
but even if the strongest Leicester team goes, they're still going to lose by 15.
The only
points.
problem with that theory is that the following week they play Gloucester in the Premiership at home, and Gloucester are 5th and Leicester are 4th in the table.
But
they play Gloucester away. Sorry,
they've then got 8 weeks off. Well, their England players have got stuff to do, but everyone else has got a load of time off.
Yeah,
so I think they're going to go full bore. I think they have to.
I hope you're right. I
really do. I think they have to.
Go on, and I'll watch that game. And then Saracens Castra. I'll wait and see what the team is. I'm suspecting Castra will just send the second choice team and accept where they are and the points they've got. And
are they through now? They should be, unless Stade Francais beat whoever they're playing.
Bulls away.
Bulls.
Sale against...
Oh, yeah, so Stade Francais aren't going to bother. So, yeah, Castra will be fine.
And then Sale against Toulon is the final match.
Come on, Sale. But Toulon are unbeaten at the moment, aren't they?
Which JB's going to go and watch.
Potentially.
And then come straight back and do the pod.
Definitely.
Immediately afterwards. That is a terrible time to be at the it's not called the
no
AJ Bell, is it?
It's a terrible time at the AJ Bell team.
Salford
Community Stadium.
Is that what it's called now?
Sunday 5:30 p.m. kickoff.
Perfect.
So 7:30 the game finishes. About 11 p.m. you'll get out of the car park and we can podcast.
Yeah, I'll be fine.
They've sorted many of those problems out now.
The buses are
much better.
Unless, like me, you haven't paid attention to where the buses go from.
But now you know that.
And I know that. No, I know that. I'd love to go to that one.
You can get the tram to the Trafford Centre, get the bus from the Trafford Centre.
Yeah. It does actually work when you pay attention, but I didn't pay attention. It's my fault, not the good folks at Sale.
The question you asked was, if you were trying to work with the NFL, who would you go and... So the obvious thing is, I would send an envoy from the RFU or from rugby in general to learn what they can from the NFL by going and spending time with Roger Goodell.
Yeah, Roger Goodell looks like he is like... I mean, what is he, 6'4"? He might even be bigger than that.
The commissioner.
Yeah, hands like shovels. Like, he looks like a superhero in a suit, right? And I've never seen him not in a suit. Maybe sometimes he wears a polo shirt if he's golfing.
Or Jerry Jones, just because he's been around so much, has got so much IQ. You can learn. You can learn about.
Imagine if you went to the office. What do you think Roger Goodell's number 2 and number 3 look like? Or what do you think the communications director looks like? Or there's a certain look, isn't there?
Slick.
Yeah.
Money.
What's his back? What's their background? Because that's what I'm interested in. That's where I thought the question was going. What's their background? Because is there
Harvard Law School?
Are they? Yeah. Are they businessmen? Are they lawyers? Are they former players?
It depends. Like, so say if, I mean, this is just what I would expect. If I was going to deal with the NFL, or like the UFC being another one, right?
Dana White.
I'd expect to see a guy who not only went to Harvard Law, but also has cauliflower ears and looks like he can batter me, because it's the image, isn't it? That's what the organisation is.
Where are you going?
Well, why do I want to? And no, because when you engage the UFC, there are values and an image to the UFC which should carry on.
Dana White and Joe Rogan are the first people you think of.
Exactly, right? You know what you're buying. NFL, you kind of know what you're buying. Anyway, the reason I bring this up is there is a lady. Well, first of all, it's about money. So let's put the image of what you think you're buying to one side. There is just look on your phones, right? This lady, Catherine Williamson, okay?
Hang on, let me get WhatsApp up. There we go, yeah.
Is the external communications director for the RFU. Paid close to £500,000 and also got a bonus, with her bonus of £150,000. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not Bill Sweeney money. So, including her bonus of £150,000 from last year, that brings her pay packet up to £500K. I can't remember her communicating that to anyone. Now, also, is she the image that you would want from the RFU? Like, do you know, when I sort of speak, I mean, not to be too cruel about it, but it doesn't strike me as, welcome to this high performance institute here.
I don't find that.
Oh, I do.
I don't find that relevant because I've never heard of her before.
Does anyone think they're good?
The standard of communications from England Rugby, the level of transparency or proactive thinking and the coherence of messages has been objectively awful.
Awful, right? And I'm thinking, imagine if you're whoever you want to be, Honda, Tesla, Lever, whoever it is, whichever, Barclays. I think, I'd love to sign some sort of sponsorship here. But I just look at people and I think, surely to God, there should be like an aligned strategy of not only what they do, that should be the minimum. They should be great at their job as a minimum, But also there should be a crossover that, I see, yeah, this is England rugby. They look like England rugby. Like, that is not acceptable. I know you don't want to.
I'm not putting my name to this because I've never.
That's
heard,
fine.
I've never heard of her. Don't know her name. So I actually
can't do it.
This is someone that's not public or client.
She's public to me. She's on £500,000.
Well, she's not. But she's not public or client facing. So this is just an internal.
She's PR.
PR.
So it is external.
Yeah,
but it's not.
The message throughout should be the same. It should be aligned. I just think.
So I'm looking. I'm on her LinkedIn at the moment, and
global communications for BA Virgin Atlantic.
BA Virgin Atlantic. So one thing of note: there is no sports body in there. So there's no previous sporting experience. It is one of the most notable positions: head of public relations for Teletext Holidays.
There's £500,000,
which just shows she's been heads of publicity for 20 years, which that in itself is probably a good thing.
Why are we talking about this individual?
Because she's on £500,000, Tim. That's why.
350 and
plus 150. £150,000 bonus.
So don't get me wrong.
For communications,
you don't need to convince me that the RFU are wasting.
The
wasting money,
are dreadful,
and
as well.
the communications
all
are dreadful.
communications for £500,000. That is outrageous.
I would do it for half the price, I must admit.
Many people would, and they would look the part too.
I don't get on board with that.
It's a high.
If she was incredible at her job, would you even be having this conversation?
Nope.
So what? So what does that part of the conversation matter?
No, I probably would actually, because I think it's an elite sporting organisation. That's what I would say.
So should a groundsman be like hench?
Not hench.
They're part of a elite.
Not hench, but I would
elite athletic organisation.
Yeah, but
they're out there on the pitch
at director level.
You can't grace the pitch
at director level.
People are looking at the pitch. What are they going to think of you?
No. At director level, there has to be some sort of cohesive message, which is we are an elite sporting organisation.
I think so.
It's a funny one because intuitively, I agree.
It's ironic.
I agree with the principle, but I also find it like.
It's jarring.
I find it hard to express. I'm happy kind of internally having that monologue, but externally expressing it is challenging.
But for £500,000, we could get someone who looks the part and is the part quite comfortably, I'm sure.
The looking the part thing, I think, that's maybe where I have the problem, because there is, like, I've definitely heard before, if you look at the FTSE 100 or the S&P 500, it's generally like 90% guys who look a certain way. But that doesn't mean they're good. That's an interesting point, because they're the FTSE 100. They are the 100 best companies.
I can tell,
but they've also got to that position. Like, the ones who are dropping out of the FTSE 100, the ones who are failing, still have guys that look the same.
It's like working for Body Shop and not using soap. It doesn't give me any faith that the right people have been picked, because there should be some sort of high performance.
So let's just say,
sporting qualification.
Hypothetically, someone's in really good nick, gets the job. Throughout their whole job, they perform with an incredible level of competency.
So far, so good.
But the way they look completely changes. Like you're getting into the realm where you're just discriminating.
There is a danger. I don't deny there's a danger that can be the case. And you are right. You walk a tight line there.
Them and the whole comms team have been objectively very, very bad, and so the fact there's £500,000 gone down the black hole, we can all agree that's
definitely
money, but bad money.
And like a related thing that I think is a slightly different point, but it does kind of stick in the craw when you have, over the last few years particularly, ministers of health in
this is exactly the same thing.
Various different points telling us what to do and being morbidly obese. There is a slight difference there because of the, like, do as I say, not what I do.
Not elite sports.
So there is a notable thing. Like, when I saw her as ex-BA, there is a notable thing. There was someone else in Bill Sweeney's little panel that he's assembled who was, I'm going to say, former Radisson executive. But Radisson might be wrong, but it was, BA is the airline partner to the RFU. Whichever hotel chain someone else has been appointed to is the hotel chain to the RFU. And there's several of the individuals who there is a very, very strong immediate link from their last role to the RFU's current primary sponsors. Now, I'm not in that sponsorship, marketing, communications world, I don't know if that's the normal way, and it's good to have the ins, the outs, the very strong relationships, or that's a bad thing because you're kind of tying to like your current sponsors, which means new sponsors will be less hungry and less interested because they see there's an existing bond.
Yeah, just passing the same stuff around.
Yeah.
Organisations, like some sort of
you kind of like grandfathering them in. Well, BA are going to get it because they've got this appointment and that appointment. Yeah,
send us some sponsorship and you might get a plum job with the RFU later on.
Yeah,
but
yes.
I thought we were going to be going down the route of talking about Bill Sweeney and the vote of no confidence.
Oh God, that happened as well.
Yeah. So my understanding of this is the letter went in from the clubs, 141 or so clubs, seeking a vote of no confidence. And the RFU have delayed it on a technicality by saying the letter was proposed by the clubs but didn't get two independent counter-signers.
They initially delayed it on a technicality.
Did they?
Yeah.
Oh, have they gone back on that?
Have they subsequently?
They've now said that the administrative errors have now been sorted, and we will. There'll be a general meeting or a special meeting after the Six Nations, after Bill Beaumont has done his fact-finding club tour through January, February to go out and gather
the facts from the club. Well, they've told you
the facts from all of the clubs, and he's going to do a tour of the country to speak with people and get their feelings.
Oh my God!
So the meeting is happening.
He is just like dragging it out.
I mean, it's probably Catherine Williams' call. Do you know what we need? We need someone that's just going to calm the.
What's he? So he's on 700k, 750k, something like that before any bonuses. He's on 60 grand a month, netting 30 plus grand a month. He is just dragging this out to.
Nobody's paying this man that amount of money again.
No, absolutely, especially not the way he's behaving now. Like the whole thing.
So it's when he goes, not if.
It is when he goes, and he's just explicitly like rinsing the sport now,
and waiting for them to make him an offer to go.
Yeah, because
can they just like? It's not a case of sack him. There's probably something written down where, and the remuneration committee probably have got it in there that he gets 2 years full pay.
His mates from BA and Radisson, and whoever at Honda in the remuneration committee.
Yeah, he's certainly not going to. So it's been my view for a long time that he's been building his CV for yesterday's world. So
yes,
you look at what's important today, and it's like, well, we're a declining country, and we need people that can perform, and we need it now. And you've built your whole career on luxury beliefs, things which don't make anyone any money, and have effectively contributed to destroying the sport. And you point to things that are not important, like your diversity quotas or the first black chair, because that's important, right? And it wasn't. It never was. Now, it would have been important like 10 years ago. I think he'd have got a great job somewhere else. He would have landed in some Quango or some
5 years ago,
or some sporting organisation, and probably for
the RFU gig.
Yeah, a massive pay rise when ESG was all the rage. But now he's effectively useless. He's surplus to requirement in every single organisation. You need people with competencies with a track record of success, not someone who makes up their own targets. Easy to achieve.
Well, he didn't make up his own targets. The people,
sorry.
So as well as Bill Sweeney, the people that were on that remuneration committee, you need to go.
Get
gone.
I messed up my words then. You make up your own priorities. So things like cancelling the name Saxons to be more inclusive.
It's just, when you look back at that now, how insane.
How embarrassing.
How embarrassing and insane did we get?
Yeah.
Well, not with us, but you know what I mean. Just the...
And the list goes on and on and on. Saying that he's embarrassed to sing Swing Low. What an embarrassing human being. And he's in charge of the game for God knows how long, and still is. So he's hanging on because there is nobody that will take this man. For good reason, because he is yesterday's man. He built a CV for yesterday's world, and it's moved on.
It is a disgrace. I just think about it now, the number of people who have lost their job and what he's done, and he's just sitting there getting paid the amount. And the fact that he's feathered his nest from 400k up to 700k, plus the 350k bonus when the RFU's failing, it's so absolutely disgraceful that he's continuing
had he
to
just
feather his
stopped,
nest.
Had he just stopped, had a moment of conscience, stopped at the ridiculous increase in his salary anyway that puts him on 700 odd K, and said, you know what, I don't know, with this bonus, I don't feel comfortable with that bonus. I don't want it. This all goes away, and
here's some money for you all, Talk H.
Yeah. He can keep his 700 odd grand, which is almost double what he started with.
The RFU don't have enough money to put a bit towards the Talk H clubhouse. When the FA do, the ECB do, Sport England do, and our members have already raised 13,000, right? It's just, and he's been paid what? And Catherine Williamson's been paid what? It's beyond belief. They are beyond belief.
So I suspect, because of the points you've just made, he will go into retirement. I'm just trying to find out his age.
He's like 57, isn't he?
According to the Guardian article 2 years ago, he was 64 then. So 65
he
or
must
66
be right on the
now.
No,
So
must be right on the edge of it.
it
So
will
he's probably not even going into another job.
He will just feather his nest until retirement now, at the expense of the RFU, which is what he's been doing for the last 5 years.
He might have cost himself a lordship or a knighthood.
Yeah, some title, no doubt.
Has he not already got
OBE?
OBE.
Okay.
Hey, a friend of mine got an OBE this week.
Oh, really?
Paul Godfrey.
Godders.
Yeah.
Friend of the pod.
Isn't OBE? What are they? MBE?
Order of the British Empire.
MBE's the lowest.
CBE.
Yeah,
MBE.
OBE and KBE is like a knight.
Yeah.
You got an OBE in the...
There's also a layer of
There's
knights.
GBE, so there's Knight Grand Cross.
Yes, that was I was going to say. And that's done by only a certain number at any one time, and it's done by when one dies, someone else goes in.
So who's in that? Like P Diddy, Jeffrey Epstein. Like who else qualified for that one?
Who are the 50 at the minute? Because there was someone recently got in. It was some like a.
Sounds ridiculous.
I think Elton John may have got one of them. I think he is. It was someone like that. I think it might have been him.
300 Knights and Dame Grand Crosses.
Oh no, there's one. There's one that there's.
It's like 12. I think you're right.
There's one that there's fewer.
Is it Garter?
Garter, or is that? Yes,
I think it is. I think
it is.
So I'm on the
Order of the Garter, maybe.
Order of the Garter.
I'm on the
that.
Wikipedia page for the Order of the British Empire, which says the current classes are Knight Grand Cross or Dame Grand Cross, Knight Commander, Commander of the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire, which is CBE, then Officer, OBE, and Member, MBE. So they're the 5 ranks.
I've got it. The Most Noble Order of the Garter.
Wow.
The most senior order of knighthood in the British honours system. It is outranked in precedence only by the decorations of the Victoria Cross and the George Cross.
Wow. Oh. Hang on, we actually have to do stuff for those.
Yeah. This one...
24. No more than...
24, there you go. I'm just...
So its membership is limited to the Sovereign, the Prince of Wales, and no more than 24 living members.
There you go.
Or companions.
Let's see who's in it. So
I'm sure Elton Johnson is.
Who's in it? Where'd you find the list of these people?
I don't think you do, Tim.
Military Knights of Windsor. History. No. Oh, we must be
There
able
must
to
be
find...
a list of this.
Where's the list?
Let's see if ChatGPT knows.
Garter. Knights. I need to know this before we end the pod.
Oh, here we go. List of current knights.
List of current knights and knights.
Duke
and
of Kent, Princess Royal, Duke of Gloucester, Princess Alexandra, Duke of York, Duke of Edinburgh, Prince of Wales.
Oh, so these are the ones that are done parts of the Royal Knights.
King.
But
then
there are
stranger knights.
They're foreign royalty.
Wow, this is a real.
And then there's knights and ladies companions. I think this is the
So these are the ones.
Sir John Major is one of them.
Of course he is.
John Major is one. The Marshal of the Royal Air Force.
Just stop. Just forget what I said about Catherine Williams. This is what's going to get us in real trouble. We're going to be driving our cars and it's going to crash. And this is
Tony Blair.
Oh God! Come on, go on.
Lord Patton, former chairman of the BBC Trust and governor of Hong Kong.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Lord Patton and Barnes.
So there's the
Andrew Lloyd Webber.
The Air Chief Marshal and the Royal Navy, and I'm assuming the Army then
Tony Blair
is there for. So the head of the Army Navy.
Baroness Amos. How did she make it?
Andrew, there's 4 spots vacant currently.
Oh, three of us here.
I know 3 of us. I was going to say, I know 3 people we can rule out.
Bill, one of those spots for Bill Sweeney, no doubt.
Who is the Lord King of Lothbury? This is fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah.
The Lord Luce. This I don't want to know.
Duke
Melvin King. Mervyn King, former
Bank of England governor
of the Bank of England. Yeah, Mervyn King is the Lord King of Lothbury.
Okay, so do they go by?
You get your own banner when you get this. You get a banner.
I'd love a banner. I'd probably choose the EggChasers logo. It is quite bannery, isn't it? It is. Lord Luce.
It must be Andrew Lloyd Webber that we're thinking about.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah,
Andrew Lloyd Webber.
I guess they need a composer for their parties.
And
I wonder what the obligations are. I mean, we know what the real obligations, the unsaid obligations are. But I wonder what do they get together once a year?
Or is it like the president and the vice president can never be on the same plane? You can't get them all in the same room at once.
I don't want to know any more about this organisation. My head is full of too much stuff like this. This is the last thing that I need to know about.
You and Mac Hansen chatting.
Do you want to just read the current members of the Club of Rome whilst we're here? Or the attendees to this year's World Economic Forum?
No, I do not.
No, I don't need to know any
list of young global leaders.
Oh yes, please. That'll put my mind at ease just before bedtime.
Let's finish this off with something we occasionally do, but not always. Tim, are you watching or listening to or reading anything good at the moment?
Good shout, Phil. I have a stack of books that last year, it was my New Year's resolution, I was going to read, and it's all of the flipping out, my brain is fried. The Stoic former emperor, what's his name? Marcus Aurelius.
Oh, wow.
So I'm reading some Marcus Aurelius stuff. And now that I've seen that the movie's being made, I remember reading some of Homer's Odyssey when I was younger and loving it. So I'm thinking I might delve into that a bit.
Oh, that's very interesting.
So some of the books.
I've read, Thomas got gifted Greek myths for children. So I've read a load of them. And they're for 5-6-year-olds, so it's pretty brief, but it's still pretty cool.
It's very cool. Yeah.
JB?
I am determined to write more articles this year, starting with the financial services articles. I've got a list of them, and I'm going to attempt to write something for LinkedIn or something tomorrow, which is the relationship between consumer spending and alcohol. And like how alcohol spending has decreased as dating app usage has gone up. I think that's quite an interesting story to tell there.
There's definitely a story there. Although just on like Six Nations and drawing it back to rugby, Guinness, there was a worldwide shortage. They could not keep up with the demand.
Do you believe that, by the way?
I think I do, because there's I've
noticed it like recently.
Yeah,
kids are drinking Guinness.
Kids are drinking Guinness. The split in the G thing's become a thing, massive, and like one of those Kardashians was
really.
Yeah.
So I don't know how they've done this, right? But they have. One of my theories is that there's a cohort of kids coming of age who were not locked up during COVID. So actually, you think about it, 2 years is a huge amount of time for a young person. Well, they've sort of cleared. They've sort of cleared now, and they've kind of moved on, and with all the problems that they have. But the cohort beneath that are probably coming of age now, and I wouldn't be surprised if drinking rates go up again, because they can go out and they can socialise and they can be with their mates.
Well, just objectively, my two are below drinking age, but they're of the age when you would go to the park at the weekend, and they do a lot of that.
Yeah, so you start drinking, right, then, but imagine, so how old's Louis? He's
17 this weekend.
So if he was...
Took him out driving.
So if he was stopped today for 2 years, it wouldn't be 2 years, would it? It'd be 2 years, but then you don't know how to get into it because you've not really gone through that process. It's probably like 3 years, and you don't have the taste for it anyway. These years now, I'm not saying like it's super important that they drink, but the point is...
This is where habits are formed.
Yes, yeah. So I think they've all cleared out now, and they're going to do whatever they do. The next lot have not been affected by it, so hopefully a bit of a return to normality, because I don't think they're very happy not mixing.
In terms of return to normality, and it's very anecdotal, based only off my kids, but I talk about the madness in the RFU and Bill Sweeney, and we've talked about that general madness, and the Patreon podcast covers this in great depth. When they were a bit younger, I was just hoping that the madness wouldn't be as strong when they were coming of age. It's really not.
It's receding, isn't it?
It's receded a lot.
Yeah,
thankfully.
And isn't it weird that the people that were not necessarily mad but embraced it the most were people like Bill Sweeney. Those I think those are the real sort of villains in this whole story. The middle spineless managers that climb their way to the top based on nothing.
It looks purely, if money was his objective, it worked quite well for him.
Yep.
And there's other people we could talk about that it's worked quite well for them.
He's going to have
a
very comfortable retirement.
Yeah. Interesting.
Well, I am reading.
Go on, Phil. Yeah.
Seeing Like a State by James C. Scott, which is about 20. I think it's 20 years old, maybe just even older than 20 years old, and it's about the how states try to organise humanity for their benefit, good and bad, and
states being like nation states,
states, governments, giving loads of examples through history, and why that generally fails and why it leads to worsening of the human condition. It's very interesting. It's also very hard going. It's very small text, and a lot of repetition of the same points, but it's a very interesting book.
But you have lots of conversations with me, so you're used to repetition of the same points.
They could. He could write an addendum about Gavin Newsom.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, definitely. That might be, if he does. There are, because it was written 20 years ago. There are very recent chapters in history that would give good examples, good entire chapters. But as a precursor to that, and reference within that book, is 1984. And I'd never, to my eternal shame, I'd not read 1984 before, and I read it 6 weeks ago, something like that. It is so good. It is. I can't believe I'd never read it before.
Yeah. What's the bit where, who is the liar?
Oh, there's so much, and then some of it.
That was the final. They made you believe.
They made you believe in the lie.
Convinced you to believe
2 + 2 = 5.
Yeah,
and you're convinced that 2 + 2 = 5 by the end. He is. What's his name? Winston.
Winston. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is amazing,
but it's
and so much more poignant.
Oh,
now
reading it, as I'm reading it,
yeah.
and I was reading it actually in the run up to the US election as well, and so a lot of that was incredibly pertinent. But it's such a good book because it obviously combines those fundamental truths about the world and mistruths about the world and how power operates and all the rest of it. But as well, some of the writing, the visual descriptions of the torture and the visual descriptions of the world are just they're horrible, but also beautifully written. It's an amazing book.
The other one I read during, I'd read it 1984 a long time ago, but I think I might not have been too young and not really. Anyway, I read it a couple of years ago in the middle of the madness.
Yes,
and A Brave New World as well.
Oh, okay.
That's awesome too.
I've also got Animal Farm on my shelf to read. Might read that next. But yeah, A Brave New World I'll add to the list.
Yeah, awesome, love it. Right, patreon.com/EggChasers for more content, and there is we've had a lot of people saying they enjoyed the last one, so go and enjoy. Go
I'm going to go on the emails right now.
It was on the messages on the. Just look at the comments on the actual.
On Patreon.
On Patreon.
I can't get on. Oh, can you get on using that?
Yeah. Anyway, patreon.com/EggChasers. Drop your emails in, and after the rugby next weekend, we'll be back with you. Let the boys end.
Cheers.
To everyone else, this is a desk. But to you, it's a launch pad. Your starting block. This ain't a desk. This is opportunity.
Switch to Boost Mobile and get the Coach Prime Moto G5G on us at your local Boost retailer. Moto G5G on us when you switch with ID verification and new Unlimited Plus or Unlimited Premium plan activation. Taxes extra. All prices, fees, features, functionality, and offers are subject to change without notice. See participating dealers for details.
If you're a maintenance supervisor for a commercial property, you've had to deal with everything from leaky faucets to flickering light bulbs. But nothing's worse than that ancient boiler that's lived in the building since the day it was built, 50 years ago. It's enough to make anyone lose their cool. That's where Grainger comes in. With industrial-grade products and dependable fast delivery, Grainger can help with any challenge. From worn-out components to everyday necessities. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Glad Force Flex Max Strength now has bags with a 2 times stronger top for over-the-top strength. Like the kind of over-the-top strength you need when Bill breaks your bowl of buffalo chicken dip. Glad Force Flex Max Strength. Strong enough for all of life's garbage. 2 times stronger top versus 13-gallon Force Flex bags.